Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Victorian Open Championships, the 2025-2026 UNCLOUD Short Course Champs. It is session 3, heats for our second day. We've had a pretty exciting first day on the Saturday yesterday. Lots happening in the pool last night with our finals, with Carlia Marsh and James McBride this morning. We've got an event-packed full session up ahead with a 200-metre freestyle for our men's, kicking it all off. And then we'll finish off with some freestyle and butterfly with the women's 100 metres. As we head to our first event, we have event 36, our men's 200-metre freestyle, 4 heats for this morning. Thank you for joining us on our live stream and here at MSAC. I'm not over the look. That's a great start in lane 4 to James Ward from Caulfield. Coming out very strong, flanked either side. Oliver McKenzie, his teammate, in 3, and Sam Welsh in 5 from Camberwell. And leading Oliver at the 50-metre turn. At the halfway mark, Oliver McKenzie at a 54.43, followed closely Sam Welsh and James Ward in 5 and 4, leading the pack at the moment. Either side in 2, we have Callum Risotto and Rowan Ween in 6, in 8. At the moment, it is Oliver who is just half a body length out in front. And he's keeping James Ward at bay with Sam Walsh hot on the heels of Ward in 4. But it is Oliver McKenzie in this first heat with a time of 1:52.4. Followed by James, followed by Sam, and then we had Liam Butner over in 1.
Diving into Heat 2 now, we have Lachlan Jacket Simpson in lane 4, Tommy Lane as well, not swimming. But we also have Eli Billman, who we saw get on the podium last night in the 100 butterfly. But Lockie's going to take the boys out here, 11.68. It's looking smooth. He's always got the easy speed, swimming the 100 and the 200 freestyle. So Lockie's still holding on to the lead. Oliver McCormack not too far behind, and Eli Billman in third. So we've got a couple missing out of this heat. We've got lane 3 missing, Flynn Phillips, lane 5, Tommy Lane, and lane 6, Ewan Smith. But Lockie, Jacket Simpson still taking him out, but Oliver McCormack's going to try and stay with him here in the first 100. They turn 53.45. Oliver McCormack 54.18. Eli's still trying to keep up with them as well. But this is looking like a very cruisy swim for Lachlan Jacket Simpson. Still holding on to his lead, but we've got the outside lanes as well, starting to catch up with the rest of the field. Lane 0, lane 1, starting to creep up on Eli, but Lockie is still maintaining his lead here, looking very smooth. Probably just been told to focus on his skills and not use up too much energy, but he's got to watch out for Oliver McCormack down in lane 7 because he's caught right up here. They both turn. There's only 0.3 separating them now on this last 25, and now it's coming down to a really close finish here. Last 5 metres, Lockie is going to touch in 152.1, so a little slower than the previous heat. Second, Oliver McCormack. Third, Elson Lee has managed to get the touch, 152.87.
Heat 3 in the water. A bit of a blanket, a fantastic start by Owen Kruger in lane 0, but it is George Huang who turns first at the first 25 metres.
Yeah, as we spoke about, a lot of these athletes coming back and racing again this morning after a pretty hotly contested final session last night. We are seeing a few of those empty lanes, so I think the focus and the target of this morning's heats is getting one of those top 10 placings. We're seeing a few of these athletes just look like they're switching off a little bit throughout the second half of these 200-metre events, ensuring that they're in that top 10 but not overexerting too much energy. As the boys come into the 100-metre turn here, it will be Kreutzberger out in front, but only narrowly ahead of George Huang, both hitting that 53.2 and 53.3 mark.
Yeah, it's a big weekend of swimming for our athletes, pushing themselves. They've been training a lot to come to this meet. It's been fantastic to have so many visitors here as well, levelling up our competition, which Oscar is as they come into that 75% mark of the race complete. And just on that turn, Oscar Kreutzberger stretches out in front by half a body.
He really worked that third 50, didn't he, Chelsea? Got that slight advantage leading into this final 2 laps, and he's maintained that now with just 15 metres left to swim. George starting to try and push up alongside, looking for that slightly better lane or opportunity to be within that final. It will be tied on that finish, all onto timing of that final stroke, but it will go down to Oscar Kreutzberger, 151.57, ahead of George Huang, 151.83. And Adonis Diotopoulos finishes off in third, 153.57.
our final heat here of men's 200-metre freestyles. Most of the top half of the pool is missing, but it's going to be Tyler Theodore to lead us out from Caulfield Grammar. He's already put a body's length here coming into the close of the first 50. And again, it's just the same. We're seeing a lot of our athletes try to get out quick and do their race plans in the first 100, 150 metres, and then if they have enough room to adjust in order to save some energy, because it is a 2-day meet, so it is a high program, lots of events on at the same day, not a lot of time in between. But Tyler Theodore here still hanging on to the lead as we finish the first half.
So at the 100-metre mark, you have Tyler Theodore out in front, turning in a 54.60 with Noah Chappell 56.56. And down in lane 9, Matthew Moran turns in third. Those two battling it out for that second place spot here, but Tyler Theodore looks to have this one pretty much wrapped up at this point in the race. That really strong 6-beat kick out behind him, motoring him down the field here.
So we're coming into the 150-metre turn now. Tyler Theodore still in the lead, but we've also got Riley Hodgins up in lane 3, looking like he's starting to make his move, slipping into fourth. It's going to be tight for some of these other placings, but it's all Tyler Theodore here as we turn into the final 25. He's got a massive lead on the rest of the pack. Second, Noah Chappell. Riley Hodgins has now moved up into third. It's going to be close for second and third, but it is going to be Tyler Theodore to take out this heat in a very nice time, 153.15. Second place out to Matthew Moran, who's had a fantastic final 50, managing to close out his race in a 157.57, and third to Noah Chappell.
Now we move to event 39 and men's 200-metre backstroke. Ledgers just being put into place and checked. So, James, we were talking about finals and the balance between heats and then coming back tonight. What's that recovery like, and what do you aim for in heats before reaching that final?
Well, in heats, it's just about trying to expend your energy, and it really depends on where you kind of sit in the ranks. If you're in that 8 to 12 ranking or in that 12 to 15, you're going to have to expend a lot more energy to make sure you have a place, whereas the guys from 1 to 5, they know that they're already in those top spots. And then in between heats and finals, it's just about refueling and making sure that you're getting some sleep if you need it. It's just always down to the individual.
And they're away in the pool now in lane 5. A fantastic start to Xavier Purcell. We are missing a couple of swimmers in the pool. Will Sharp, our fastest qualifier. So Xavier is going to be the leader at this point in time.
Yeah, Xavier's just got a fantastic stroke, super smooth. had a fantastic long course season as well. We turn into that finishing turn here, 28.35 for Xavier. Not too far behind is Max Bosley in second. And then we've got the youngest in the field here, Han Tang Wang. We've seen that name over the last couple of weeks in our short course season, breaking records. And it's really great to see that a 13-year-old is here in a seeded heat of our 200-metre backstroke.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't swap anything out for racing experience under the lights here at Open. As Xavier with that turn, the halfway mark. Now, James, what do you think he's thinking in the middle? Because he's alone now. He can't check either side of it.
Making sure he's keeping up his tempo and probably on the turns having a look to see where everyone else in the field is. We've only got 3 heats here of these backstrokes, and we've already had quite a few people pull out of this first heat. So it's just about managing yourself and making sure that even though you don't have anyone around you, that you're making sure you're keeping pace so that you can secure a spot for tonight.
Yeah, Max Bosley keeping pace at the moment as he's pushing up further with his stroke rate. He's just within the tippy toes of Xavier Purcell, who's still leading quite comfortably in 5. Following in lane 0, Han Tang Wang, the young'un, as you mentioned, and in 7 we have Harry Calagris. It is all about that time. And that time for Xavier Purcell is 2 on the dot, 0.80, followed by Max 2:04.60.
Third will go to Han Tang Wang, 2:09.67. So a very strong start here for Heat 1. 2 minutes is our top seed going into Heat 2.
Heat 2 in the water now, and definitely a chance for all of these guys for a place, a lane in the final tonight. It is going to be all about that time. A fantastic start off to Aiden Ramos in lane 2, leading at that first turn.
Yeah, he had an incredible underwater off that backstroke dive, and we did see off the turn, though, a bit of a shift in that leader as well, with Joshua Carnes holding that underwater off the skills. So he's maintaining those underwaters a lot better than the other boys in this heat seem to be, and that's really being utilised to his advantage down this 200-metre backstroke.
Yeah, he's definitely picked up his pace on that, leading with that turn. He was only half a body length out in front going into it. Now he is a full body length out as he comes into the halfway mark of the race with that time of 1:00.414. And so the fastest time was Xavier Purcell in lane 5 of our first heat at that 2 mark. But he wants to be around that 2:10 to be aiming for that final tonight.
Yeah, Josh is always a really strong swimmer down this last 50 metres of the race. We'll see if this morning he really shifts gears and lifts, or whether he switches off that little bit. He's got quite a lead now with 50 metres left to swim, ahead of Benjamin Nolter, who turns in second, and Tom Urquhart that turns into that third place spot. But a little bit of a challenge for that third position, and that's kind of where you want to be, that top 3, if you want the best chance of having an opportunity to come back and return tonight.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a battle for that third position, that third highest time in this second heat. And that's between Aiden Ramos, Tom Urquhart, and also in lane 6, Zayden Burton, who are neck and neck at the moment, with Zayden just pushing out in front on that turn. But Joshua Carnes has completed the heat with a 2:02.42 time, a fantastic one. And look at those times on the board. They're all under that 2:10 mark.
Underway here is our final heat of the men's 200-metre backstroke. It's dead even at the moment in the first 25, but we're going to have Lucas Kay take us out here first. Not too far behind him is Joshua Witkowski and Liam Denallen. But this 200 metres backstroke, it's just about getting out there in that first 50, 100 metres, making sure you're light on the legs, but getting out nice and aggressive so that you can bring it home in that final 100. And that was a fantastic underwater from Joshua Witkowski, who's now taken the lead.
Yeah, I really love the way Josh looks so relaxed in this 200. In that first 50, we always want to see that easy speed, and if you can be really efficient within this backstroke, you can have a lot more of an advantage into the second half, especially when you need to start bringing in the legs and maybe even increase that little bit of a stroke rate. He'll turn through at the 100-metre mark in that 1:00.63, very similar to our heat before, and following him onto the wall was Liam Donnellan, 1:02.40. Lucas Kay still holding into that third place spot.
The one thing that Josh is doing really well here is off the walls. He's just making the most of every single glide. He's not starting his underwaters until he passes the flag, so he's not using any energy to get that distance. And it pays off, particularly in the back end of the race, when you really need to use those legs and start to generate some power off those walls. He's going to be able to have that in the back end, but he's taken a lead here by 2 seconds. Liam Denallen not too far behind. Keenan Powers now moved up into third. But it's going to be a tight battle for some of these placings for a final tonight, because third, fourth and fifth are on pace around that 2:10, 2:11 mark. And we've seen quite a few of those already, but Joshua Witkowski here is cruising into the wall. He just looks so effortless, but Liam Denallen's going to come in second. So 2:07. It's actually Liam Denallen's touched him out on the finish here. Third place goes to Keenan Power, and Campbell Mills in fourth, 2:12.8.
Now we have event 40, the women's 100-metre backstroke. One of 8 of our heats has just begun. And a great start to our middle lanes in 4, Jessica Wilson, and 5, Jessie Steinman. And James, how important are these underwaters, particularly in short course when you have so many turns?
It is absolutely everything in these backstroke races when you're going short course. You look at anyone on the world stage, they are 15 metres underwater off every single wall, no matter the distance. Jessica Wilson's underwaters have been fantastic. It's got her into a nice position as we come into that final turn. She's going to turn in 45.5. Not too far behind is Jessie Steinman.
And in that third spot at the moment over in lane 1, we have Henrietta Wong having a fantastic swim as she is increasing her pace towards the wall. It is Jessica Wilson, though, with a time of 1:01.41, followed by Jessie Steinman, 1:02.19, then Henrietta, 1:04.43 for our first heat of 8. We're in our second heat now, and a great start to Abby Kearney in lane 4 from Nunawading. She's got her teammate Kira right next to her. Matilda Clark has also come out strong in lane 8 from Camberwell as Abby leads now by an arm's length.
Now we saw Abby last night in the 200 backstroke and the 50 taking away those gold medals. She's looking great here early on, turning in that 29.71. Only person in the field under the 30-second mark in the first half. But Kira Jeff's starting to move up right alongside her now. Abby's just got that slight advantage off the walls.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that third spot at the moment as we come into that final 25 metres. Olivia in 2, Sarah in 3. Abby too strong, though, at the moment. Looking at her time, a 1:01.02 and a 1:02.02 for Kira and Abby. That's fantastic around those top times from the first heat as well. Looking towards that final tonight.
Underwater now with heat 3, and something we're already seeing straight away in this morning's session is the importance of those underwaters, particularly in these backstroke events. Our leaders always seem to be the ones within the field who are holding onto those underwaters, going that little extra half a metre or extra dolphin kick off each of our walls. As we watch on that first 25-metre turn, Alyssa Lever from the Nunawading Swimming Club, she's going to take us around at halfway out in the lead ahead of Zara Olawani, and it will be Claire in third.
Yeah, so a tighter race here. We've got two swimmers in the centre of the pool leading us out, both turning in 30 points. So we've got to make sure here, this final 25, it's going to come down to who's going to want to hit that underwater perfectly. Zara is caught right up on the shoulder, but it's looking like Alyssa Lever is going to close out the race as our leader, and she's going to touch a 101.54. Not too far behind is Zara Olawanyi, and third place, Claire Matheson, 104.52.
This is heat 4 now, and we've had a pretty fast top 3 heats coming through. These girls are going to have to push for those times, aiming for that 104 mark, as we've had a pretty strong start across lanes 3 to 7 on that first turn. It is Celeste Chang in that lead.
You've always got to watch out for these heat 4, 5 and 6s, because there's always a couple of people that maybe just haven't raced the event all season, and they kind of look to put on a big performance in the morning so they can sneak in. It's going to be Celeste Chang down in lane 7 to take us out at 31.99. Not too far behind is Eloise Pride and Romina Velagas down in lane 8. We come into this final turn here. It is very, very close, because Mia Huang's caught right up to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, you never know what's going to come from your outside lanes in the final 25 metres. The girls are going strong. Mia in lane 1, in lane 7. Celeste is looking nice and strong, chasing her. Romina, it's all going to come down to that touch. And it is Mia who's gotten there first with a time of 106.69, followed in by Eloise in lane 5, and then Yarulin Wang in lane 6. Heat 8, here we are as the girls come up from underwater, and it was a great start from Aria, went in lane 6. Now, we were talking about those underwaters, Kalia. For those at home, how do you tweak those? How do you improve those to capitalise on those turns?
I think the main thing we speak to our athletes about is butterfly kick is almost the 5th stroke. It's an element that we use in every other event, including our breaststroke now with our split stroke, the ability to do a dolphin kick off each of your walls. So definitely working a lot on that butterfly kick. You also want to see these athletes, and you'll notice with Aria, she gets a nice depth off the wall. You want to be below that drag zone. Other athletes are coming in, creating that little bit of a wave or a wake, and you want to come off the wall, get right down underneath it where you're going to get that good quality water, utilise those beautiful butterfly kicks on your back, and then get up and racing fast.
Yeah, and look at Aria go as she's coming to close out this heat. Chasing her, though, in lane 2, Bethany Forcer, who really picked up there, as well as Zoe Jennings in 4 as she comes in with the time. Aria 106.71, followed in Bethany 107.52, and then we had Phoebe followed in by Zoe in 4. Now, that 106 time, we're going to have to see whether that makes that final.
Yeah, it was a really quick event, this 100 backstroke for our women. We still have 3 heats left to race, but those top times, it's basically looking like anyone under that 104 might scrape in. Another thing, though, we saw last night, we did have a few athletes withdrawing from finals to focus on other events. So keep an eye out if you are one of those reserves, because you could have an opportunity to race.
Here we go, 6 out of 8 heats now. It's a very even start here. Looks like it's going to be our centre lanes leading us out for a nice battle in this first 25. The first turn's going to be lane 6, Sierra Kaufman. But close behind is Elizabeth Mack and Taylor Miller. In this first 50, it's just all about getting out quick. You've got to make sure you're hitting those turns. Really start to bring in the legs aggressively. As we come out of that second turn, it's still going to be Sierra out in the lead, but second place is actually going to be Emily in lane 4, who's starting to make her move, and Taylor Miller.
We watched Sierra really attack that first 50. She set herself up with the best opportunity to get a nice personal best swim here this morning. All of these girls came into the race sitting around that 109 high, 110 low mark, and she's really looking to try and break that well and truly. She's going to be close to that final and that top 10 there. 104.61 for Sierra. She'll be stoked about that. It was Taylor Miller who finished off in second, 107.59, and Amelie Dior-Velikovsky in third, 108.11.
That's what we were saying before about these seeded heats. You can't switch off too much, because there's always going to be a couple of people that manage to drop massive times. Like that was a 5-second PB. So in the morning, you always have to be careful. You can't turn off the jets too early.
Certainly with our younger athletes, Sierra, they're just 14 years of age too. So looking for that big personal best. And the time can be shaved off quite quickly in those races when you're a bit younger.
Heat 7, here we are. A great start to Gemma Sullivan in lane 8. And then looking towards the middle of our pool, we've got Lucia Calderon. And over in lane 2, we're looking at Clarissa Sinoli. We were just talking about the times that these girls are taking off the seconds. Even if you're not making that final, James, what does that mean in your performance in the heats?
It's massive, especially when we're looking at a couple of these ages. Like we had a 12-year-old in the previous heat. You know, most of these kids are sitting around 14, 15. They're not even open athletes yet. So they're looking to make big drops, and they've got nothing to lose coming and competing at the Open Championships. As we see Lucia go into the lead into the final turn, not too far behind is Nika Thapa and Clarissa. It's going to be a tight race, that final turn. Let's just switch up the standings. It's going to be a tight finish here. We hit the wall. It is going to be Nika in lane 3, 109.03, followed by Lucia and Clarissa.
Away we go now with our 8th and final heat this morning of the women's 100-metre backstroke. All of these girls looking to break that 111 barrier, sitting around 111.0 for every athlete in the field. And it's quite clear that they come into this race evenly spread, because that first turn, there wasn't much separating them at all.
Yeah, look how close that is. Let's watch to the very, very end on this. Just peeking out in front in that lead, we've got Victoria Dang from Melbourne as they come to the halfway mark, but only just Hannah Robinson following up in lane 1, looking from the top to the tail, the bottom of the pool, but look at the turn and the underwaters that Victoria has displayed.
Yeah, that turn becoming ever so important in these 100-metre sprint events, getting that slight advantage off every wall. She's managing to stay out in front of that group of 3 on the far side of the pool who are almost stroke for stroke down this final 25 now, but it will be Victoria Dang as we come down under the flags, who will take away this 8th and final heat this morning. 107.99, smashed that 111 out the park. Hannah Robinson finishes in second, 109.73, and it was Zoe Skepper who touched in third, 110.21.
Yeah, that's fantastic. 4 of our 6 athletes in that heat taking off seconds on their time.
And some nice quick heats this morning to kick us off underway on day 2. If you want speed, though, keep your eyes on this next event. Coming up now, we have event 41. It's the men's 50-metre butterfly, one of our power races.
Here we go, heat 1 of 11 of our men's 50-metre butterfly. Keep an eye out in lane 4, our champion from last year, James Ward, swimming out of Caulfield Drummer, but it's going to be Eli Billman to touch in first, 11.10. It's coach versus athlete here. James working at Ivanhoe swim. Eli coming into the finish now. It's going to come down to the touch here. He's going to be Eli Billman. That's a PB for him, 24.1. Followed by James Ward in second and not far behind Toby McComish in third.
Now that is a pretty incredible swim there from Eli at 16 years of age, almost breaking that 24-second barrier. He did an incredible 100 fly last night and managed to pick himself up one of those medals. We really saw him get off the blocks fast, which is probably something that we really need to be seeing from these athletes within the 50-metre butterfly.
And our second heat of the Fast and the Furious with our fly. And what a flying start that is in lane 4 to Callum Halloran Laval, who had a fantastic night last night as well. The first turn battling him is Johan Stickland in lane 3. And then coming up, Owen Kruger in lane 5 as well. It's going to come down to the touch, but too strong is Callum with a time of 24.20. Shaving off 0.07 of a second from his qualifying time. And we're definitely looking forward to tonight.
So that second heat, not quite as quick as our first one where we saw that 24.1, but it's looking like it's certainly going to take a 24 low to be part of this top 10. If we look to our next heat, you will notice behind the block we just did a little bit of a test start for Nicholas Layton. He's one of our deaf athletes, so you'll see him utilising that little light beside the block for his start here.
And a great start out in lane 1. Felix Dressel de Bruyne as he hits that turn at the 25-metre mark. Look at those underwaters. Coming up earlier was Nicholas Layton. But yeah, Felix powering home, being challenged as well by Ewan Smith in lane 6, who has got it in the end, 24.29, who challenges those times to get to that final tonight.
Third in that heat went to Bart Aporowicz down in lane 7 at that 24.78, and that's looking like it might be that barrier that we do want to see broken to be a part of this final. We will keep an eye on. Remember, there are 11 heats this morning, and we saw some pretty fast swims coming out of heat 5 and 6 from our girls. In these sprint events, anything can happen. You get that extra half a second off your dive and a little bit of improvement. We can see some massive gains and move ups in those rankings.
And it happens just like that. Heat 4 now underway. Very strong across the field. Looking at lane 6, Alan Lang at the moment. Brendan Wilson in 7, keeping up with him. They've definitely found their flow next to each other. The arms begin from Brandon first with the stroke, but look at the power from Alan, leaving the field behind, collecting that time of 25.44, followed in second by Luke Stafford, and third then Brandon Wilson in that lane 7.
Now, as I said before the beginning of this race, the 50 butterfly is kind of known as our power event. We tend to see those athletes who are leaning towards that bit of a sprint revolution training we've seen on the world stage, Cam McAvoy's and such. So we're seeing a lot more of those stronger athletes really trying to be powerful within that butterfly stroke.
So here we go for Heat 5. And as we said before, this is where we start to see some people that maybe haven't swum the event in a while give it a stab. And we're going to have touching first Ishaq Ismail from Surrey Park. Not too far behind, though, is Usher Yu next to him. But it was a fantastic underwater as we come into the finish now. It's still going to be Ishaq to get the touch. It's 25.67 for our winner, followed by Brian Wong in lane 5 and Enrico Villegas in third.
And once again, it's our younger athletes really putting on a bit of a showcase this morning. Ishaq just 14 years of age, so some really good futures ahead for these younger guys. We're starting to see them with that ability to hold skills and get away from that start, hold that 15 underwater and maintain it off the turn as well.
Heat 6 as they pop up halfway across the pool. This is short course, a great start to Tommy Golding in 2. Powerhousing down though with that turn in lane 5. We've got Alfie Graves. Be watching Hugo Carson. We're across the full pool, but Alfie really steaming home, finding that rhythm and power as he pushes into the wall with that time of 26.30.
It was a fantastic underwater there by Alfie Graves to take the lead. Second place going to Tommy Golding and third to Lucas Schultz. So now we're starting to see the times move up into the 26s, 27s, but I'm sure there'll be someone looking to make a drop to get a shot at tonight's final.
This is Heat 7 in a very popular event for our guys. As we said, testing out those times. Some of these athletes might not have been in the pool in this event for a while. In lane 5, Lamau Janasa really steamrolling home. Following him in the chase in lane 2 is Thomas Lambert. But it is Lamau at the time of 26.52, followed by Thomas in lane 2, and then it was William who was down by himself in lane 9.
Yeah, I really enjoyed just how explosive Lemuel was off the wall. His butterfly kicks, probably some of the faster ones we've seen on that underwater. We can see some of these athletes with the slightly larger kicks, so they are a little bit slower, but Lemuel just really smashed them out off that turn again and gained on that lead that he had coming into the wall.
Heat 8 now of 11. We're heading in already into that one and only turn. It's still very even, but the first touch is going to be in lane 5, Benjamin King. Not far behind is Samuel Pizzoli. And again, that turn and that underwater and breakout are the most important part of this race, as Benjamin extended his lead off that breakout, and he touches in a 26.88. Second place going to Dax Conhetti, who managed to catch right up, and third to Samuel Pizzoli.
And something I noticed particularly from Benjamin King in that race, not one breath taken in the first 25. Came off the wall, you get that breath on the wall, and then only one in the second lap. So just how important is it to keep your head down and maintain that good posture in these 50s?
Yeah, it's just about making sure that you're travelling forward with every stroke. So by having your head down and staying tall through the stroke, you're going to be able to push your trajectory forward instead of being up and down every time you breathe. And you don't need the oxygen in the sprint events, as we know. So it's just about keeping your head down as much as possible, maybe 1 or 2 breaths, so that you can hit the underwaters off that turn.
And it is heat 9 of 11. Now we power through these heats, and so does Leo Nolan in lane 0. I'm looking at the top, I'm looking at the bottom. The middle of the pool is going to be pushing out as well in lane 7. We've got Samuel Mills in 4, Christopher Baton, but Leo Nolan has led from the very beginning as he's looking to keep that stroke rate up and take it home with a 27.17 for this heat, followed by Daniel Collins in lane 2, and then Christopher Baton in lane 4. Heat 10 and a great start to Jaemin Shin in 7, as well as in lane 2, Lewis Sherratt. Important halfway mark, Sebastian from the centre leads as they pop up from underwater. He's definitely capitalising on that, taking him on Alexander Tari. It is a close one across from the whole middle of the pool. It's going to come down to the touch. Lewis Sherratt, 27.75. So close behind Jae-Lin Shin, 27.94. And then in third in that heat, Keegan Bilsma with a 28 on the dot.
Yeah, we love to see these really close races, particularly in the heats. It's pushing one another along. I think most of the boys in that race dropped about half a second or more off their entry time. So great to see some more personal bests coming out of heat 10. And that moves us along to our final heat of the men's 50-metre butterfly, heat 11.
3 swimmers in our water for this final heat. Charles Wood in 3 from PLC, Isaac Finlayson in 4 from MLC, and Christian Marks from Nuttall-Wadding, as it is really tight on that turn. Points of a second within that, and just stepping up with a hand, a fingertip out in front, Isaac Finlayson. It's going to come down to the touch on the wall between the battle of Isaac and Christensen. Charles is still in it, and it is Christian with 28.57. So close. Isaac follows, then Charles. And great to see times, seconds taken off them. But most of our athletes in those placing positions in those heats that we've just seen across the 11 races.
Moving right along in our program now, it's event 42, the women's 400-metre freestyle. We do have just the 2 heats this morning in this event. In the water now, heat 1. The girls here swimming around that 4:43, 4:44 mark. Let's see how many of them we might be able to sneak under 4:40. Always a really great goal to have, holding that 1:10 pace. So we'll look to see in this first 50 who's setting themselves up well here. And it looks like it will be Olivia Toe who gets her feet on the wall, but not a lot separating those top, all of them really, but the top three in particular.
Yeah, this event's always so much opportunity to drop time. You've got so many turns that you can really work and put yourself into a good pacing through the race. It gives you plenty of opportunities to switch your pace and tempo, as we have Hannah Ristig taking us out here. It's still really close, though, between the rest of the field. No one's really looked to make their move and separate themselves from the pack, but I'm sure over the next 100 metres, that's what we're going to see as we hit the turn here. It's 106.59 for Hannah Ristig, but not too far behind is Olivia Toe in lane 6.
We'll be looking to see those splits on the board start to really even out, and consistency becomes a massive part of these 400-metre events. You want to be maintaining the same distance off every wall without overexerting too much energy. Like what we saw Josh Wachowski doing in that 200-metre backstroke, if you can utilise the efficiency of the propulsive phase as you leave the wall without actually using too much of the legs, you're going to have a big advantage. I'm liking Hannah's turn. She does hold that nice streamline for quite a while before she puts in the flutter kick and then into the breakout.
So it's still Hannah and Olivia, our two leaders, and now they're starting to separate themselves from the pack, and that second 100 is so important to set up your tempo for the final 200, and you want to think about trying to descend those last three 100s down in speed so that that last 100 you're in full swing, powering home, making sure that you're hitting those turns well. But it is going to be Olivia Toe that's now taken the lead. She turns in a 2:18.6, so under that 440 split to go a big PB here this morning. Hannah Ristig's just slipped down to third, and the rest of the field now is noticed that those two girls were making their move, so they've started to creep back into the race.
I always love an athlete in this 400 who isn't afraid to really push through the third 100. It can be quite easy sometimes mentally to almost switch off and have a little bit of a rest and save yourself for the last 100. So anyone who can keep the pressure on here, start bringing in the legs that little bit earlier, is going to have quite the advantage as you turn for home.
Yeah, it is very easy to just switch off in that third 100, especially if you've accidentally switched on the legs or something a bit too early in the race. You kind of do want to settle down, but it's always best to just keep the tempo. If you've been able to get out at a certain pace, just do your best to hold, and that's what Olivia Toe here has done. She has really separated herself here by 2 bodies lengths ahead of the field. As we've seen now, the more central lanes start to move into the race. We've seen Eliza Connolly and Sorella Bedra turn in second and third. Ava Dennis not too far behind in fourth.
Olivia Toe holding on to that 17-point splits for each 25, and she's done that for the last 3. She's starting to really lift now with less than 100 metres to go, that 17.10. Eliza Connolly's also done a great job of building into this swim as well. She's lifted, got those 17-second splits also going on here, trying to close the gap that Olivia Toe really built in that third 100, but with 50 metres left to swim, Olivia Toe still your leader, followed by Eliza, and that is Ava Dennis, who's moved her way up into third.
Now starting to see the legs be brought in for our final 50. It's Olivia Toe powering away here into the final turn. She turns in 420.73, so it's going to be a big drop for her. Second, Sorella Bedra. Eliza Connolly. Third, Ava Dennis. It's going to be a tight finish for second and third, but it is Olivia Toe in a 438.03, so I'm sure she'll be very happy about that time in PB. Second will go to Eliza Connolly, just touching out Ava Dennis in third.
We have heat 2 of our women's 400-metre freestyle. A bit more of a full pull along the way. The field is very close for the top 1 to 7 lanes. We're just on that first turn. We have Sienna Santolin and Amy Bai making their moves, along with Ella Sharp, who's keeping up with them. And so, James, I want to talk about the strategy that a 400-metre race brings in. How are you dividing it up? And also, no lap counters with this one. It's considered middle distance at the moment. So are you counting in your head? How are you keeping track? Are you looking up at the board?
It's pretty unfair that for a 400 short course, it's the same amount of laps as an 800. You don't have a counter. There's been plenty of times in a race that I have personally lost count. But these girls, I'm sure they'll better counters than me as we come into the first 100. These girls have really gone out aggressive. It's great to see, and that's what we're talking about with tactics. It's about getting out and setting that pace, especially through their second and third 50, being able to set up that tempo and get yourself into a position to shift for later on in the race. So you can split it in so many different ways, whether that's as 4 100s or some people go 150, and then 100. Even some people, the more the distance guys will try to negative split and they might go 200 and 200. So there's so many different ways you can race. It's just all about playing to your strengths. If you're coming up from the 200 or from the 100 or something, a shorter distance, it's about being able to get out there quick and use that easy speed without taxing your body too much. If you're coming down from the 800 or 1500, it's about playing to your strengths in those final 200 metres, and that's where you'll mostly see those distance guys. They'll tend to be even splitting the race or negative splitting, so swimming faster in the second half of the race. But we do have 2 girls that have made their move out ahead of the rest of the field. That's going to be Amy Bai and Sienna Santolin. They've both turned in 2:13.3, so a significant amount of time ahead of our previous heat. It's great to see that these girls are really going for it. They're all sitting around that 4:35, 4:36 mark as entry time, so let's hope to see some PBs here.
Yeah, Amy is looking strong, followed by Sienna. We have Ava and then also Jordan in lane 2 that's keeping along with that third position of the pack. But at the moment we have an infraction to report for event number 41. That is event number 41, heat 7, the swimmer in lane 5. Their head did not break the surface of the water at or before the 15-minute mark after the start and has been disqualified for that. That is event number 41, heat 7, swimmer in lane 5 has been disqualified for their head did not break the surface of the water at or before the 15-metre mark after the start.
Back here to our 400 metres, our second heat. We'll have our final heat swim tonight in the final, but it is Amy who's put a significant lead ahead of the pack. She's got 3 seconds on Sienna Santolin. Jordan Barnwell starting to creep up into third position. Zoe Gann, Ava Thickens as well in the mix for one of those minor placings. But it is all Amy Bai. She's starting to now bring in the legs here as we come into the final 50 metres of the race. Sienna Santolin trying to make a move to try and catch up to Amy Bai. But it is going to be Amy Bai here onto the final turn. 4:14, 4:16.9 for Sienna. Jordan Barnwell in third, holding on to their position. Zoe Gant trying to make her move and she's crossed into third, but it is going to be Amy Bai, 4:31.27. Second place to Sienna Santolin and third to Jordan Barnwell, who manages to hold off the rest of the field in a 4:36.09.
Yeah, fantastic work by the girls. That is Amy Bai, who took off 7 seconds on her time for that 400 metres.
Yeah, great personal bursts like that. We do have our third of our time finals. That will swim in our final session tonight, that top 10. But That 4:31 is very comparable, so she might even sneak into that top 10, pick up some points for her club at the competition.
We all know how competitive clubs are. We had some exciting relays last night as well to finish off finals.
Some very exciting relays to finish off, and we can look forward to a little bit more excitement this evening, not only in those relays but our individual events. We've had some close swims this morning, and we'll turn our attention now to event 43. It's the men's 50-metre freestyle for multi-class. 2 heats battling it out this morning for a spot in that top 10 tonight. And an incredible achievement for us in Victoria here to have so many of these multi-class athletes, competing and really trying to work hard and vie for a spot in that final later on today.
And event 43, our men's 50-metre freestyle multi-class. A cracking start off to Dylan Logan, one of our visitors, S15 from Albany Creek. He's directly versing James Logan in 5, also S15 classification. We've got a couple of S14s in there. James Shield directly versing Ming Z in 2 and 3, and then Cooper Harrington in 7, and Athanopoulos in 8. But it is Dylan who hits that wall first. It is quick, 25.73, Meezing 27.35, and James Logan 27.99, followed in by Cooper Harrington and James Shield. But it's not about who is hitting that wall first. It is about that world record time that their result time goes up against.
Yeah, so anyone newer to our multi-class racing, each of our athletes is classified. And those classifications, each one of them has their own individual world record. We compare the times swum by our athletes this morning. The closest to those world records gets the highest point score. It's a very technical way of doing it that my calculations cannot work out on the spot, but our incredible technical officials, they do all the hard work on the computers. Our top 10 point scores will get a spot into the finals. And then from that top 10 tonight, whoever races, whoever gets the closest to their world record, they will be our winners and get to stand on our podium.
Well, Ahmed Kelly, who was in lane 0 just there, S3, came last in the race last night, but then won the gold medal, and that's how it works with the classification. It is against that time. So you don't know till the very end, until it's all calculated. And here is our second heat as we look towards that final tonight. Again, a range of classifications, a great start in our lane 3 and lane 4. That's Miles Parfit and Benjamin Wills directly versing each other here in the S19 classification. So we'll come to that wall touch between these two boys. And then doing a great job coming into that third wall position, Calvin Tran, S14 in 6. So is Ben that just pipped him at the post against Miles with a time of 27.48, followed Miles 27.89. Calvin Tran 29.27, and then we had coming to the wall Andrew Den and then Aaron Skinner, S19 and S14. And I love that it's not just the city folk. We've also got the regional crew coming on down here to MSAC.
We do love some of our country athletes having that ability to come and race here. The gorgeous Melbourne Sports Centre indoor pool, lovely 25-metre racing for our short course season. And if you look beyond the pool, we have our warm-up swim down area, plenty of space for all of our athletes. And it's been a great morning so far.
And now it's time for our women to take the pool. Event 44, our 50-metre freestyle multi-class. And a beautiful start in lane 4 by Ava Dennis, S19 from Warragul. On the turn, followed by Alison Freely, S19 as well, directly versing each other as well. Jessica McDermott, also S19 in lanes 4, 5 and 3. But Ava proving very strong, coming into that wall with a 29-1. Followed in by Alison Feely, and then we had Jessica. So fantastic times by the girls. In lane 8, we've got Amy Bale coming in from Warrnambool. And that is our Heat 1. It's quick, the 50s.
Blink and you will miss them. These girls are very, very fast. And if you want to talk about very fast, I mean, look no further than our swimmer in lane 4 in this second heat. Mia Hogan, she's just 13 years of age, swimming from Albury. She's one that those Australian team selectors are certainly keeping an eye on. And she's already come away with a stack of medals from last night. So we'll see what she can do here this morning. Her entry time sits at a 29.43, so just outside what Ava Dennis has swam. But we have seen some fast heat swims.
And this is Heat 2 of our 50-metre freestyle multi-class. Such amazing, inspirational athletes we have in the pool this morning. In 4, Mia Hogan, youngster from Albury, 13 years of age, up against Anna Leighton in 5, S14 from Ballarat Gold, taking her on both the two in the lead at the moment. On the outside of her, Lisa Bale, S19 from Warrnambool, and then Tyra Jensen, S14 from Warragul. But into the wall first, Mia, 29.22, followed by Anna, 31.86. Lisa with a 33.56 time.
And once again, across that heat, quite a lot of personal bests there. So it's great to see these athletes performing in the morning. And we look to see the top 10 who come back tonight. Can they improve on those swims again? The opportunity to race heats and finals is not something that we often get to see from our multi-class swimmers. So the ability to do that is just fantastic. And it's a real showmanship of what we provide our athletes here in Victoria. We do have all of our emerging abilities programs going on for our multi-class athletes from Swimming Victoria that give these guys the opportunity to come along and train alongside other multi-class athletes and really work hard and showcase their skills.
Yeah, it's just awesome. You can't simulate race day experience like that. So the opportunity is fantastic to have. All right, we're up to the heats of the IM, the men's 200 metres. It's event 45. This is 1 of 5. A couple of key players missing in 5 and 6 from Daniel Citrevesi and Flynn Phillips. So this is a chance to capitalise on that quick time. In 3, Oscar Kreutzberger leading the way. He's flanked either side, Joshua Wachowski and Lewis G in 3 and 4.
Oscar will turn in first, 26.79, with Lewis 27.09, and Mayan Bascar turned in third, 27.68. But do keep an eye on that centre lane. Josh Wachowski, he loves to just slowly build his way through these IMs, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him popping his way out into the front during somewhere like that breaststroke or even the freestyle.
Yeah, I'm also keeping an eye on Casey Kamija in lane 7 as well, sticking up with the middle of the pack. Also lane 9, Keenan Power, don't count him out from the key of the group, but steaming away with the breaststroke, Oscar, our visitor from NASC, who has been having a great meet so far here with this competition. On the turn, how important is the breaststroke leg of the IM?
It's definitely the one that probably gets talked about the most. You can move through the field really well if you have a strong and solid breaststroke, as we're seeing a few of these boys extend that lead from Oscar. He is looking great this morning, not really holding too much back. We'll see if he switches off in this freestyle leg. To come onto the wall there, Josh Wachowski has moved his way up into second, so moving from about 6th after the butterfly into that second place spot, with Lewis G holding on for third. So good to see him having a cracking heat swim in this 200 IM this morning as well.
Yeah, he's just behind by a hand length, Lewis G. So looking at those times, Oscar steadily coming into the wall, very confident and comfortable in this heat of a 2:05.43 for him, taking off a second off his qualifying time, and then Joshua in 2:09.25, Lewis 2:10.21. So Josh really pulling away in the final 25.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the times. Josh's entry times are 2:02, so it's pretty clear that he's not really pushed that one. Whereas if you compare it to Oscar, he's actually dropped time. That's a personal best for him, his entry of a 2:06. So to go at 2:05 this morning, great to see our friends from across the border coming and racing here in Melbourne. The North Albury Swimming Club will be pleased with that performance from Oscar Kreutzberger out of Heat 1. Now, Chelsea, we were just having a little chat about the importance of breaststroke in the IM. I might have a slightly different opinion to some of our other coaches or swimmers, but I think the backstroke leg has really grown in importance. And if we look at a lot of our best backstrokers within Australia and the world, they are really shifting into the IMs. I know Kaylee McEwen is a big one, one of obviously the best backstroker in the world, arguably for our females, and she's also one of our best IM swimmers that a lot of people might not know.
Really, you could name it as the master of swimming. It's all events, all strokes. As we bring on Heat 2 of our 200-metre men's IM. Fantastic start off with Oscar Kreutzberger and Joshua Bukowski in the first heat, but it's Dominic Sue who has the fastest qualifying time here at a 2:03 that leads the charge off in that first 25 in that beautiful butterfly that he's displaying.
Yeah, he's out quickly, 26.52, but it still looked comfortable, which is great to see that easy speed early on, holding and maintaining those underwater fly kicks off each of his walls to maintain that lead here in the backstroke ahead of George Huang and then Damien Lane sitting in third.
Yeah, and look at the change in the lead here already. Fantastic underwaters by Dominic Sue. George Huang just behind, Damien Lane in 6. But yeah, a cause of quite some space in between all of our athletes.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this heat because I can see a few names that I do tend to notice in the breaststroke events, whether they can close the gap, but Dom Sui is looking really, really great here. He's got a solid lead. He's going to be very hard to catch, particularly if he maintains this into the freestyle.
Yeah, I'm also looking up at the top of our pool. Don't forget our outer lanes. Liam Donnellan is closing some time and some gap here, aiming to be up in that, rivaling that third position against Damien Lane. But Dominic Sue proving time and time again, and look at that fitness you have to bring in to this final 50 of the freestyle.
This is going to be a really, really solid heat swim here from Dominic. We'll see George turn for his final 25, and it will still be Damien Lane holding on to that third place spot. We saw a 2:10 sitting at third from Heat 1. They are looking for that top 10 spot in the final. But that time there, 2:03.83 is going to go in as our leader. George Huang 2:07.22 and Damien sits at a 2:10.73. So Heat 3 will be certainly looking to be sliding under that 2:10 mark to really guarantee themselves a spot back here later on today.
It's possible.
It 100% is possible, especially if we look at some of the names coming up. We've seen a lot of these guys racing yesterday. A few of them come away with some medals as well, so we'll see what they can do. Kakiru Zeno, he's had a ripper of a meet. He's been looking fantastic. I'm keen to see what he can do, the entry time of a 2:03.57. There's about 5 swimmers in this heat who go sub 2:10, so they all have that opportunity to put on a good show and push their way in ahead of some of these earlier heats and maybe steal some spots in the final.
Ooh, I like that word, steal some spots.
I think always day 2 is a lot more of those opportunities to sneak your way in. It's a bit of an outsider.
And here we go, heat 3. A great start to Patrick Forster. Lane 7. Looking at our middle lanes now as well, as they've just gotten started on this first turn. 3 and 4, Kakaru Zeno and Talnin Woodsidum.
Yeah, as they come down to this 50-metre turn, it will be Kakaru just in front of Tannen there. Both boys turning in a 27 low. And then not a lot separating that third place spot. It was a good first 50 by Peter Behrens out in lane 9 as well. Start to see a few little shifts in this backstroke.
So, Carly, we were talking about times and how, a spot in the finals could definitely come from this heat 3. But are the boys looking at the times up on the board of what the previous heats are and changing anything, or they're sticking with their race plan?
They're 100% looking. All of these athletes are going to know exactly the time that they need to swim to be part of that final tonight. And they are going to want to be getting themselves into that position. You'd still want to stick to your own race plan, of course, but if your race plan was to swim a 2:10, you're probably going to be trying to sneak a 2:09.
Yeah, most definitely. We were saying there's lots of competition in the pool. It is friendly, and it is between Tannen and Kakaru at the moment in 3 and 4. Surrey Park taking on Ivanhoe's swim neck and neck at the moment. We know that a lot can change in this breaststroke leg. Picking it up here, Harry Heath from Nuttall-Wadding in 5. And watching the turn as we bring home the final 50 metres of the freestyle, where you really have to get all cylinders working.
Yeah, towards the end of that breaststroke, the momentum was definitely with Harry Heath, but the other boys got a little bit better off the underwaters there, and Tannen really starting to run away down this final 25. He's really brought in that 6-beat kick. You can see the difference in the white water out the back as he puts on the afterburners. Solid swim there, 206.39, Kakaru 207.95, and Harry Heath 208.95. So they shift themselves quite far up those rankings here this morning.
It's going to definitely be competitive with those times for the spots in the finals tonight, and we still have another 2 heats to come.
5 athletes out of Heat 3 going sub 2:10, which is pretty much what we expected to see. Not super surprising, but solid efforts. I mean, it's great to put together a good swim early on in the morning. You don't quite have that adrenaline of the finals yet, so it'll be exciting to see what they can do tonight if they secure one of those placings.
Heat 4 begins, and a great start to Harry Liu in lane 8 from Melbourne. In lane 6, we're looking at, though, Jake Ridley on that first turn. Beautiful with the butterfly. James, how important is that start here in the IM?
It's just to get out with easy speed and make sure you're nice and aggressive without expending too much energy. We've talked about that quite a lot in the 200s. And it's just about, getting out, getting your rhythm, getting your flow, because it's all watching in this IM, we've got all 4 strokes, so the switch up, you're not sticking with the butterfly the whole time. So it's just about getting through each leg. Some people even say there's just 450 sprint. But our leader here is still Jake Ridley. Fantastic underwaters. I'm sure that's what his coach would have been telling him to do this morning. Just work the turns, work the underwaters to set yourself up, see what you need to do maybe in the last 50 if you can back off, or if you need to put a little more effort in. But off that split stroke was Zayden Burden, who's caught up a significant margin, not too far behind is Samuel Mills as well, who's really pushed through that breaststroke, and Han Tang Wang again swimming out of lane 0. He's now just touched in 3rd.
Yeah, he definitely has. You've got to watch all lanes there, but so much of the underwater work is what they've really been capitalising on, and using all of those different turns. And a fantastic lead we have in 6th by Jake Ridley. As the final 50 metres, it's important. Look at that butterfly kick. Neck and neck, though, we have Zayden Burton in 4, Samuel Mills in 5, and in 7, Yixin Jing as well is in the mix. Top of the pool, Han Tang Wang. It's going to be an exciting 25-metre finish in this race here.
Yeah, it's really close here for second, third and fourth. We've got all the swimmers battling it out, but it is going to be Jake Ridley here to touch in first. It's a 2:11.02. Second place goes to Han Tang, and third will go to Zayden Burton out of lane 4.
And that's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? Hang Tang Wang, 13 years of age, and Jake Ridley is the one that took it out. And very similar times, 2:11s for both of them. 18 years of age, Jake is, to Han Tang. What do you think that gap of 13 to 18, how much growth then now happens and what the future holds?
It's just opportunity. It's just making sure that you're taking the time to just enjoy the sport. It's not about trying to get onto an Australian team or win gold medals at nationals at 13 years old. It's just about coming in, enjoying the sport, coming to a competition and getting the opportunity to swim at Opens is an opportunity for him to probably come in and go, you know what, let's see how many of these Open athletes I can try and take out here in the heats and get to go home and celebrate. But we are moving here into our final heat of the 200 IM, and we've got Senna Kaneko in first. He's split a 28.14. Second, Lachlan Bull out of lane 4, and Connor Hayes is in third.
Yes, Senna doing a fantastic job as he's turned into the backstroke. Beautiful turn, coming underneath the flags with that kick. Long, elongated arms. In 5, we have Leo Nolan for Lachlan Bull, who is in that second placing, but just at the moment. Top of the pool, Hugo Carson in 0 and Connor Hayes in 1, also next to each other. But Senna really out in front by 2 body lengths now.
Where we're going to start to see the race really switch up. The breaststrokers are going to start to move through the field. Lachlan Bull looking like he's starting to try and extend himself a bit ahead of the rest of the field, because it is dead even beside Senna out in front by a second and a half. Lachlan Bull's in second. Jacob Chester keeping up in third. He's gone to make the move, and now we've really seen a shift in this race because it's a 3-horse race here as we come into the final 50.
And there is an infraction report for event number 45, heat 1. That is event 45, heat 1, lane 8, not on the block immediately prior to the finish of the backstroke section. So disqualification. Infraction report for event number 45, heat 1, lane 8, not on the back immediately prior to the finish of the backstroke section.
And here we go. It's the final part of the race. Lachlan Bull has really turned on the Jets in this final 50 to touch in at 2:16.6. Second will go to Jacob Chester, and third, Senna Kaneko with a 2:18.01. Now we have our first heat here of event 46, the girls 100 metres medley. This is always the best event of the short course season, the 100 metre medley, as we have Alana Torrance touch in first. Second is going to be Courtney Mudge out in lane 0, and third, Zoe Schneider. There is Torrance taking a lead. We have quite a few withdrawals from this race here today, but it's still all Alana Torrance. But not too far behind is still Courtney Mudge and Zoe Schneider looking to keep up, and this is where things start to change in this 100 IM, the breaststroke 25. Let's see if Alana Torrance can hold her lead here, and she's doing a fantastic job of that as we come into the closing 25.
Yeah, she's having fantastic competition so far, taking home a number of medals last night, and with the goal of that again tonight, looking very strong. We have Zoe Schneider, though, picking up the pace, but Alana comes in with a time of 1:02.90. followed by Zoe, 106.36. And then Alicia Brownville, 107.60. I'm sure looking towards the finals tonight. And the finals are exciting.
Yeah, well, I was just looking actually at the winning time from last year, and that time there is 0.3 under that. So it's looking like tonight's going to shape up to be a fantastic final session. So 102.9, our leading time here. As we move to heat 2.
And here is Heat 2. James, you said this was an exciting event this morning in the heats. Why do you love it so much?
It's just fast and always changing with every single 25. Everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses in the medley races. As we can see, Jessica Whiting taking us out in first place with a great butterfly 25. But as we just said, everyone's got their strengths as Jessica Wilson, who is a backstroker, starts to move through the field. And now she touches in first. It's why it's the best race of the whole meet.
No bias here, but we are excited to be watching in the heats. This is 2 of 6, so the girls are up for it. In lane 4, Jessica Wilson, proving strong with her strength in backstroke. Making the moves here in breaststroke in 5. We've got Jessie Steinman in 6, Nicole Briscoe as well. It's going to come down to this final 25 metres. Can they put the pedal to the metal? But Jessica Wilson proving too strong. We're going towards that time. Nicole Briscoe, though, picking up on that pace, and she gets that second placing in the heat. But Jess, 1:05.01, which is our second fastest time in the heats so far. Followed Nicole, 1:05.63, and Jessie, 1:05.70. Heat 3. We were talking about strengths. James, play to your strengths, or do you build up your weaknesses? What's your priority?
I think in training you've always got to focus on your weaknesses, but you've got to just really cover all bases. You've got to even continue to build on your strengths, but when it comes to racing, you just got to focus on your strengths and let it go. If you're better in the front end, if you're better in the breaststroke leg, just make sure that you are using and playing to your strengths. As we see Nazia out in lane 7, our leader so far. Caitlin Ord and Dakota Mathers not too far behind in second and third. As we're coming into the wall, it looks like Dakota Mathers has now taken the lead ever so slightly.
Yeah, Nazia doing fantastic in the backstroke, but Dakota really capitalising on the breaststroke, neck and neck between her and Caitlin Ord at the moment. Mathers really just pushing out in front by an arm's length. It's going to come down to the times. 1:05.32 to Dakota. 1:05.4. Oh, sorry. It was Caitlin Ord that got in first. 1:05.24. Dakota following with that 0.32. And then in that third placing, 1:06.16 for Nazia. So still in contention for our final tonight, especially that 1:05 mark.
This final is definitely up for grabs tonight as we move to Heat 4. Underway now is Heat 4 of our women's 100 metres medley. Have an even field here so far in the first 25, but it is going to be Zoe Clemenson in lane 3 to lead us out here into this second lap. But again, we're seeing Amelia Kennedy, a fantastic backstroker, move through the field. We've also got Anna O'Reilly pushing through as well. We hit the halfway mark. It's 30.06 for Amelia Kennedy, our leader.
Yeah, that was a beautiful leg by Amelia in the backstroke. And now the field looks quite even across the breaststroke. Zoe Clemenson pushing out in front. She's picked up her stroke rate on the breaststroke. Looking at lane 6 as well. Anna Orally looking very smooth and streamlined as they come into the power leg to bring it on home. Zoe Clemenson coming into that lead from that turn and looking comfortable under the flag. She's being chased by Anna in 6 and the middle two, Celeste and Amelia. But it is Zoe with the time of 107.37, potentially pushing into that final for tonight. And then followed by Anna, 108.17. Now, James, what does it mean to get into a final?
Depends on who you are. Like, if you're someone that's 14 or 15 or 16 that's able to sneak their way into an open final, it's just about going out there and having a go and putting your best foot forward. But some of these open athletes, it's really important to make sure they're setting themselves up and practicing heats and finals before nationals.
Heat 5 of 6 of our women's 100-metre IM. It has been impressive so far. We have been getting great PBs and times out of it. And look at the top of the pool at the moment. Olivia Bailey coming out strong on the butterfly. Beautiful underwaters. Down to then the very bottom, we have Mary Steele in lane 9.
That was a fantastic underwater there out of lane 1 as we hit the halfway mark. Olivia Bailey still holding her lead, but she's got company with Melissa Sharp moving into second. That was a fantastic split stroke by her, and this is where things start to shake up. The race is still dead even. It's anyone's race. It's definitely going to come down to the freestyle leg. No one's been able to ditch the rest of the field. Get that touch. It's Kate Golby in lane 4 who's now taken the reins. Ruby Kenda down in lane 7. It's still a close race. Olivia Bailey's caught right up as well. It's dead even. We also have Emma Grave coming through. It is going to be Melissa Sharp to touch in first, a 109.39. Only half a second to split. Elizabeth Mack from her. And then in third place, Layla Mahfouz.
This is our final heat for our 100-metre IM. A fantastic, impressive, entertaining race that it is. And Jessie Lynn Lim is leading the way out in front after that butterfly, chasing her down. Mia Huang in 4, and I'm watching 6 as well, Angelina.
Here we go for our transition to the breaststroke leg. It's a 31.2 for Mia Huang. Just taking the lead off of Jesselyn out in lane 1. Assuming a fantastic race from the outside lanes. But now we're starting to see the rest of the pack try and catch our leaders here. Still got a body's length to go as we come into our final turn. It's going to be Jesselyn Lim to take the lead. Mia Huang in second, and Angelina Nguyen has caught right up into third place. It's all Jesselyn Lim here coming into the close. She's going to hit the wall in a 109.29. Second goes to Mia Huang, and third, Angelina Nguyen with a 110.95.
That's awesome for Jesselyn. That is 2 seconds off her qualifying time. And it's been so good across the weekend. So many PBs. So happy for our athletes.
It's great for them to be swimming so fast as we have our short course national championships based here in Melbourne this year. We've also still got age, so we're seeing quite a lot of age groupers get some practice in at the open level and dropping time before the age group competition. So as we move now to our men's 50-metre freestyle.
Event 47, the 50-metre freestyle for our men. This is the Fast and the Furious.
Yes, it's our 50 freestyle here as we've got James Ward to turn in first, 10.88. Xander Coates not too far behind. This is a great battle. We've still also got Callum Halloran-Ravel. As we come into the finish, it is going to be James Ward in a 22.77, just edging out Xander Coates and Callum Halloran-Ravel, all under that 23 mark. So that sets the standard going into Heat 2.
Into the water now with Heat 2, and we have our title holder from last year in lane 4, Lockie Jackett-Simpson. As we go into that first turn, 10.91 for Lockie there. And it was over in lane 0, Johan Stickland, who turned in 11.1. That centre of the pool storming home. Lachlan, 22.76 ahead of Bart, 23.03. And it will be Ash Nichols finishing off in third, 23.14.
Heat 3 now of our men's 50-metre freestyle. Felix Dressel-De Bruyne with a fantastic start. Not too far behind is Toby McComish. We hit the turn now. It's going to be Felix a touch in a 10.98. Second is Toby McComish. Let's see if Felix is able to hold this lead coming into the finish. He touches in a 22.87. Second to Toby McComish, and third Oliver McKenzie. So only one under the 23 second barrier up, but we've had quite a few in these previous heats. But as we know with this 50, it's anyone's game to drop some time in some of these other heats to sneak on to the final.
Especially when those 100ths of a second count, and they're so important. We often see a lot of draws and ties within these 50-metre races. So let's see what we can get out of Heat 4 here. Quick reactions there out of Heat 4 with Justin Zhu having the best of the underwaters, but Tayo looking fantastic over in lane 1 as well. Bit of outside lane speed, good turn from the centre of the pool. Callum Rosetto coming up alongside Justin Zhu. Tayo looking great there. I think he's going to take this one out. 23.81 ahead of Ethan Chang Cruz, and then Justin finishing off in third, 24.02.
Is underway. Got Liam Denellen in the centre lane taking the boys out. We come into this turn. It's going to be Haruki Nakanishi, 11.42, and you've got to watch those skills of Haruki. He's a butterflyer, and he's going to be able to hold off the rest of the field as we come into the finish. Alfie Graves giving him a push, but it is Haruki to touch in first, 23.53. Second goes to Andy Martinov, and third in lane 3, Caden Del Zotto.
That's a pretty close time to where those top 10 boys will be sitting. So great effort out of Heat 5 for Haruki, and really utilised the underwater off that 25-metre turn. He extended that lead fantastically, and we do tend to see that from our butterfly swimmers, that ability to utilise those fly kicks. You can stay underwater all the way through to that 15-metre mark. Heat 6 away and racing now, and it was lane 3, Aiden Gleeson. Great first 25. He'll lead us around an 11.63 ahead of Asher Yu over in lane 8. Bit of an outside smoker. But coming through down this second 25, like Aiden will hang on. 24.04 the time. Alexander Buckland in second. 24.24 Asher Yu in third. The swimmer from Furbank. And a little bit of a shout out to Gus Barnes. I do hear that it is his birthday today. I'll say it one more time for the crowd. A big happy birthday to Gus Barnes from Furbank, the coach over there. Hope you're having a ripper day.
Second last heat here of our men's 50 metres freestyle. Very explosive start out of lane 3. As we hit this turn, he is going to be our leader, Edwin. 11.74 second. Oliver Salmon not too far behind. Oliver looks like he's just taking the lead now as we come under the flags. It will come down to the touch. It's a 24.57 for Oliver Salmon. Second will go to Edwin Ivanescu, and third to Terence Tane in a 24.75.
Underway now with our 8th and final heat of the men's 50 metres freestyle. Look to those golden lanes in the centre of the pool. Josh Spiteri there leading us around just under that 12-second mark, 11.92 ahead of Nick Somm, and it was William Brazier in third. Those standings look to be maintaining down this second 25. Joshua 24.58. Williams sneaks on for second, 25.11, and Samuel Pozzoli finishes off in third, 25.14 to close out the 50 freestyle for men. We're going to see a little bit of a shift in pace here as we move on to event 48 on our program. It's the women's 200-metre breaststroke. We are here at the 2025-26 UNCLOUD Victorian State Open Short Course Championships. Our short course racing in a 25-metre pool. These girls will be completing 8 laps in our 200 breaststroke. Into the water now, and it's heat 1 of 5 for the women's 200 metres breaststroke. Some fast entry times here out of our centre lanes, but a few of these girls missing. Once again, we are seeing these longer form stroke events a little bit emptier as athletes being selective with their events across the weekend. Leading us through at that first 25 was Eve Lawrence, followed by Waylon Trong.
So 3 withdrawals from this heat gives plenty of opportunity to some of the younger swimmers. We've got a 12-year-old out in lane 0, Chelsea Zhang, who's having a fantastic race, sitting in 5th right now, but Our leader is Grace Dobie out of lane 5. Looking to probably start to separate herself from the pack. Waylon Truong looking to join her. Maisie Graves not too far behind as well.
First 100 of this 200-metre breaststroke, all about setting yourself up and really maintaining that length of stroke. We want to see that beautiful glide position where athletes hit full extension with their arms out in front, a nice tight streamline as their legs come together before taking that next stroke each time. 100 metres in, there's nothing separating our first two girls there, with Grace turning in a 1:17.60, Waylon 1:17.85, and then Maisie over in lane 8, she's turned in a 1:18.63.
So a 3-horse race, but we also have Eve Lawrence looking to try and join the field, but it's going to be Waylon Truong out in lane 1 to take the lead, 1:38.86. But this is a close race, and those girls are probably going to push themselves a little harder to try and just out-edge each other to get a better lane in tonight's final. We've just seen that with Grace Dobie start to turn on the jets here. Waylon and Maisie not too far behind, and it's definitely going to come down to this closing 50.
Yeah, Grace just holding that underwater a little bit longer, really utilising a bit more depth off the wall. Maisie Graves looked really good down that 50. She's closed that gap even more on Waylon Truong, but Grace just starting to extend her lead ever so much on that 25.
It's important as the fatigue sets in not to rush through those split strokes. Make sure you're taking time, being powerful through every step. As we come into the flags now, it is going to be Grace to touch in first. She hits the wall with a 2:41.67. Second to Maisie Graves, and third out in lane 1, Waylon at 2:44.11.
Really solid heat swims there from the girls out of heat 1 to set us up for what should be a close final tonight by the looks of it in times. Grace there 2:41, but if we look at that 4th place mark, that's sitting at a 2:45. So one of our girls that gets 4th out of these first 3 heats has a really good chance of scraping into that top 10. So we'll keep an eye on that. It was a 2:44 for 3rd. Usually if you are in that top 3, you've got that really solid chance. And then anything outside that, you're kind of going to be a little bit nervous waiting those final results.
Diving in now is heat 2 of our women's 200 metres breaststroke. Again, we've got quite a few withdrawals, so there's going to be plenty of opportunity for some of our swimmers in the later heats to snag a spot in tonight's final. But our leader is going to be Farida Taha and Keela Enters. Those two have now already separated themselves from the rest of the field. We've got 3 races of 2.
We do have an infraction report for event number 47, heat 4, the swimmer in lane 8 initiated a start before the signal. That is event number 47, heat 4, lane 8.
So again, we've got these 3 races happening in this heat. It's Farida Taha and Kayla Enters going head-to-head. One seems to be taking the lead off the turns. The other is catching up on the swim. Got a good race. Lucy Reed and Amelia Grover out in 0 and 1. They've just touched in 3rd and 4th. It's definitely going to come down to maintaining those split strokes off these walls, starting to bring that rate up as we head into our final few laps. It's Farida Taha to touch in first. She's now just started to separate herself away from Kayla.
Always great to have that opportunity to have someone beside you to race and keep an eye on. Definitely going to be helping drag the girls through this 200-metre breaststroke as we get ready to turn for that final 50. Farida maintains that lead ahead of Kayla in a 1:56.06, 1:57.69. And then once again, we've got a little bit of a race on for that third place spot here too, between Amelia Grover and Lucy Reed. Not a lot separating those girls either.
So Farida Taha, our leader, heading into the final lap. She touches 2:16. She's put almost 3 seconds on the rest of the field. Amelia Grover's also been able to put a second ahead of Lucy Reed. As we come into the finish now, it is going to be Farida Taha to touch in first. 2:36, so significantly faster than the previous heat. So she's got the centre lane so far for tonight. Second to Kayla Enters, and third will be Amelia Grover, and a 2:46.03, so very close to that third and fourth placing times of the previous heat.
As the girls are getting ready for Heat 3, we do have another one of our deaf athletes competing out of this heat, Imogen Nolan, swinging from lane 3. She'll be utilising that light on the start. That's what our technical officials are just getting organised and making sure that's all good, ready to go for a fair and even start across the field here.
Yeah, it's really cool that our athletes can come and participate in all the able-bodied races.
Coming out of one of those centre lanes as well, so a really great chance to be seen again in tonight's final.
As here we go, Heat 3 for our women's 200-metre breaststroke. And a fantastic lead by our Surrey Park athlete in lane 4, Riley Cardo, really coming out strong on this one. Don't be missing, though, Tess Izzard down in lane 9. Couple of lanes empty as the gap in between her, but keep an eye on her. Neck and neck in the first 50. Riley Cardo in 4 and Imogen Nolan in 3 from Nuttawading. The battle between the two clubs. They do love their breaststroke.
Yeah, very strong starts there from the girls, getting away in that 35-second split and already giving themselves a little bit of a length on the rest of the field. You've got Miller Abley in lane 2 from Bendigo East, one of our country swimmers, who's sitting in that third place spot, and then very close between 4th and 5th, Kimberly Chen and Eliza Connolly now.
So, Kalia, what is some of the important factors in the turn for breaststroke? Because there are so many when we have a 200-metre race.
The biggest thing is that timing onto the wall. You really want to hit on that full stroke. Anytime that you're gliding in or having to take a half stroke, you're losing that momentum off the wall. So making sure that these girls are nailing those finishes each time, getting the most propulsion off the wall. And then the turn itself, it's about staying low and staying narrow and just getting away from that wall quickly. You don't want to be sucked into the wall and get stuck on there for any longer than you need to be. We like to talk about that wall almost being like playing the floor is lava. Get on it and get away from it as quickly as you possibly can.
I love it, and that's also part of the fun of it as well. And we're having fun in the pool today, but really storming away Riley Cardo. And it all came from that last turn that she really capitalised on. Imogen not too far behind still, and then behind her, Miller, and then Kimberly Chen in lane 1 is now rising up in the top.
Yeah, Kimberly put together a really great third 50 there to come up almost alongside Miller. The momentum was definitely on her side, and it was always like Miller kind of saw out the corner of her eye and just put on a little bit of extra effort down that 25 to maintain the lead. But it is still Riley Cardo out in front, looking great here. About 5 metres left to swim for Riley. She did the work early and she has managed to hold on. She'll take out our third heat in a 2:38.60 ahead of Imogen Nolan, 2:41.72, and Miller hangs on for third, 2:43.24, just 1/100th of a second between herself and Kimberly Chen there.
Yeah, and that's a great time for Riley looking towards tonight.
Yeah, quite a lot of those girls in the outside lanes doing personal bests here this morning, dropping that little bit extra time. And across the board, that's nearly one of the fastest overall heats. The top 5, that 4th place spot, that 2:43, should give them a really great chance of being in that top 10. So it'd be nice to see a couple of those younger girls. We had a few of them 14, 13 years of age, maybe sneak a spot in this evening's final.
Heat 4 underway, the first 25 metres and really close across the pool. We've got Akuha in 5, who is from Japan, having a great start, as well as Anna Kang in lane 8. Emily come on as well in the middle of the pool as we come to the close of our first 50.
Anna, very, very explosive down the first 25. She looks to have settled into that stroke a little bit more throughout the second. She'll turn in a 36.57, so it's quite a similar split to some of our earlier heats. She'll be looking to secure a personal best here this morning and see what she can do. We are looking to see around that 2:43, 2:44 expected in our final, so if anyone can be around that mark, they've got a great chance.
Yeah, and look at her go. She's really concentrated on her own swim and her own race. Over in lane 5, though, we still have Akuha, who's keeping up the pace. And the top of our pool, Ruby Kendra in lane 0. Be watching for her from all the way from lane 8. Anna would have no idea about Ruby.
Yeah, breaststroke can be quite a difficult race to see where other athletes are in the pool. The only real opportunity you might get is on that turn if your head looks slightly to one side as you come off on your side on the underwater. We have to make sure that we do end up on our front, not too far over in those underwaters off the turns. But it is quite close between our leaders still, with Anna and Ikuha now moving into that second place spot. And the momentum's certainly on her side. She might even turn in first at this wall. It's going to be very close between those top 2.
Yeah, looking at the turn, let's look at the beautiful glides that the girls both have. And they surface very close between each other. It's really going to be a battle. It's going to be about who can capitalise on this final turn. But picking up that pace, actually, look at that stroke rate from Akuha just in this 25 metres. She really wants that time.
Yeah, it's really important that you mention that glide phase in this 200-metre breaststroke. It can be used to such an advantage. If you can maintain speed into the glide, it's time that you're moving forward, but you're not actually exerting any energy. So you can really shift gears and get that full extension and use that to the best of your advantage, which Akuha has done incredibly. 246.31 ahead of Anna Kang, 247.40, and it was Emily who finished in third with a 249.44 to round out heat 4, as we've got one final heat left to swim.
And our final heat for this event, the women's 200-metre breaststroke. 4 swimmers in our pool today, and really great start to all 4 of them across the top of the pool. I'm looking at Gemma Bond with that first 25-metre mark.
Yeah, it's dead even here in the first 50. Gemma Bond is our leader so far. She's looking like she's already starting to try and shift away from the pack. She's got about a half a body's length now as we're coming into the second turn. We hit the touch, it's going to be Gemma Bond to hold on to her lead. Cassandra not too far behind. Hayley Warren as well, starting to pick up and catch the rest of the girls.
And yeah, Gemma Bond again out in front, but only just in lane 4. We've got Cassandra, who is neck and neck and is just on that glide, pipped out in front there. Very cleverly done.
Yeah, fantastic glides coming from that centre lane. Cassandra Biscoccio, as we hit the turn now at the 100-metre mark, it is going to be 122.1 for our leader. It's just starting to pick up the rate now in these first few strokes off that split stroke.
Yeah, James, how do you balance out that glide and wanting to, maximise that time to move forward versus the stroke rate? You want to lift the pace.
You want to glide to the point where just right before as you're about to slow down, you're moving into the next stroke. It's just got to flow, and you've got to just make sure that you're maintaining your connection and your power as you're trying to shift up in rate. So a lot of people will begin to rush their stroke to try and move faster, but they're not holding any water or pushing anything back. But Cassandra here has really put some distance on the rest of the field. 206.24 for the propulsion swimmer. Second is Gemma Bond. Third, Hayley Warren with a fantastic split stroke to really create a big battle here on our final 50 for second and third.
Yeah, she's making moves here in lane 6, and now she's just half a body length out in front over Gemma, who has been on the hot heels of Cassandra this entire time from propulsion. But Cassandra looking very nice and strong with her glide, just picking up a little bit of pace here in this final 15 metres. She's going to come in with the time of 2:48.54.
So a 3-second PB there for our winner. Second will be Hayley Warren, and third Gemma Bond. And touching in now in fourth is Hao Zheng from Nuttawatting.
Back into our sprint events. It's event 53, the men's 50 metres backstroke. Heat 1 in the water, and great start. Akalanka Paris in lane 4. Not too much a gap between himself and Anthony Bassinas on the wall. They're both hitting 12.2 and 12.3. And it was a better underwater from Akalanka, holding on to that lead. It's going to be timing on to the finish. Who can get there first? It will be Akalanka, 25.09 to 100ths of a second ahead of Anthony, 25.11. And Sebastian Chrissy Crane finishes in third, 25.88.
Heat 2, here we are. It is quick. That is a fantastic start after Halloran Laval in lane 5, who's leading out by an arm stroke, taken on by Xavier Purcell, who have had some fantastic races this weekend. It's also Xavier's birthday. Happy 19th birthday to Xavier. Is he going to get a little birthday cake as recovery in between? Maybe he has made the final tonight. That is 25-1 for Callum Halloran Laval in first place in that heat, followed by Xavier, 25-5-3.
Heat 3 now of our men's 50-metre backstroke, and it's Jacket Simpson to pop out ahead of the field. Fantastic underwater from him. Right next to him is Alexander Hillman. They're both going to turn in together. It's Jacket Simpson, 12.74 on the first 25, and look for him to separate himself, but it's Hillman to pop up ahead off that turn. That was a fantastic underwater, but Jacket Simpson's managed to come into the wall, 26.16. Second will be Ashley Nichols to get his hand on that wall, and third, Jacket Lanyon, 27.0.
Into the water now with Heat 4, staying under nicely, swimming out of lane 3, Xander Coates. He's in the lead just ahead of Lewis G over in lane 8 as they come into the wall. Lewis faster feet on the turn, 13.03. That will be Xander turning in second, but with the better of the underwaters as well. Quick swim from Oliver Namastas over in lane 0. Onto that finish, it will be Xander Coates, 27.11, ahead of Lewis G, 27.19, and Oliver, 27.72 to round out Heat 4.
Heat 5 and they're under the water. Surfacing in lane 6, we have Jude. That is a brilliant start as well. To lane 2, we've got Campbell Mills. Jude and Campbell at this stage. Lane 4, though, cracking middle. Austin Robbins. It's going to be a close finish on this one. Battle right to the very end, and that time, Campbell Mills, 28.41. Followed in by Jude, 28.58. And then Austin Robbins, 28.67.
Heat 6 now of our men's 50 metres backstroke. Fantastic underwater there from Asher Yu out in lane 2. He's going to lead us into the turn here now at 13.1. He's put a second on the rest of the field. Patrick DeBrady in second, third Brian Wong out in lane 0, but it's going to be Asher to take out this heat by a body's length here. He goes at 26.84. Second place will go to Patrick DeBrady, 28.72, and third out in lane 0, Brian Wong, 29.11.
Flying away now into Heat 7 of the boys' 50 metres backstroke. There's a long underwater over in lane 2 by Ben Van Dyke. We come into that first 25-metre turn. It will be Daniel Collins, feet on the wall first, 14.2 ahead of Kaylin Theodore. Not a lot separating those top 4 swimmers. Solid turn there from Daniel. He looks to be pulling away a little bit from Kaylin. It will be onto the wall. Daniel Collins, 28.88. Kaylin Theodore, 29.07. And Oliver Hall finishes in third, 29.29.
Heat 7 now underway. A popular event, our 50-metre backstroke. And look at the start from Zach McKenzie from propulsion in lane 0, but it's Lucas Campbell who gets the lead on that turn, 14.12. Looking at lane 8 as well, we've got Matthew Bellamy. It's going to be the battle between the two of them right to the very end, along with Oliver Salmon, who got that third placing, but Matthew Bellamy in first position, 28.55, followed in by Lucas Campbell, 28.57.
Heat 9 now underway for our men's 50 metres backstroke. Fantastic underwater there from Ryan Martin, 15-year-old from Nuttawading. He's leading us into the wall, but Michael Fan in lane 4 is catching up. We hit the turn. It's going to be Harry Kalergis, 14.72. So some of these boys will be looking to try and break the 30-point. It'll be tight to see if they can do it. It's coming right down to the finish, but it is going to be Harry Kalergis to break the 30-point barrier, 29.54. Second will go to Michael Fan in lane 4, and third, Andreas Ginnis at 30.34.
Swim off style for our 10th and final heat of the men's 50 metres backstroke. Just our two athletes hitting the water here, William Cow and Mitchell Wills. As we come down into that first 25-metre turn, it will be William, 14.57 onto the wall, followed by Mitchell in a 15. Solid underwaters from the boys down this second lap. Some nice smooth swimming from William, though, is going to take out this 10th heat in a 29.63 ahead of Mitchell, 30.96. And we are going to keep rolling with that 50-metre backstroke momentum as we move along in our programs to event 54. This is the men's 50-metre backstroke for multi-class. We have two heats in this morning's session of the men.
Event 54, the men's 50-metre backstroke multi-class. All about that world record time. That's what they're racing up against. And a great start to Dylan Logan from Albany Creek, one of our visitors. Following in, we have Mi Zeng Pang. And then we have Joshua Briggs, Cooper Harrington. Really, really classy performance by Dylan Logan, S15. As he comes in with the time of 29.55, followed in by Mizing Pang 33.35. Cooper Harrington 37.30. And so Cooper S14, we had a couple of verses in there, and we have Ahmed Kelly still racing in lane 8, the legend that he is. As we said, it is all about that time. So his classification S3, it did really well last night, vying towards our finals. All of these times count at 1:02.75 for Ahmed.
Underway now with our second heat of the 50-metre backstroke for multi-class, and it's quite the day for birthdays today as we wish James Logan, swimming out of lane 4, the main man, a happy 18th birthday. Great to see him swimming very fast here on his birthday, 15.74 onto that turn, ahead of Andrew Dinn, 16.76, and super tight between second, third and fourth within this heat, but it will be James Logan who gets his hand on the wall nicely in a time of 31.48. Nice little personal best for him on his birthday. Congratulations, James.
Move to event 55, our women's backstroke multi-class. Time for the girls now. Event 55, our women's backstroke multi-class, 50 metres. It is quick. It is a quick turnaround here. Anna Layton in 4, leading the way, S14 classification. Jessica McDermott, S19 in 5, not too far behind. Directly versing right next to her in 6, Abigail Garbellini, S19 as well. And doing a great job on the other side. They're all about that same time. Lisa Bale, also S19 from Warrnambool, but it is Anna Layton in lane 4 with that time, 36.86. Coming in next, Abigail, and then third, Jessica in this heat. As Madeline Fox comes in towards the wall, S18 classification. It is all about competing against that world record time, and she has got it in 55.57.
Girls now getting started for Heat 2 of the 50-metre backstroke for multi-class. Great underwater there by Scarlett Morgan out of lane 6, really utilising as much of that first 10 metres as she could to stay under, but Mackenzie Gibbs starting to push her way up through this field, as is Evie Lee and Amy Bale. Those three girls, not much separating them on the wall, with Evie turning in first in a 19.50, and she come off that turn very well, really racing down this second 25. She's up that stroke rate as she comes down under the flags into the wall. It looks like it will be Evie. Can she hold off Amy Bale on the finish? She does. 39.64 ahead of Amy, 39.92, and Mackenzie Gibbs touches in third, 40.45.
This is event 56, our women's 400-metre IM.
We do have an infraction report for event number 53, Heat 3, the swimmer in lane 9. Head did not break the surface of the water at or before the 15-metre mark after the start. That is event number 53, Heat 3, lane 9.
And in lane 3, we have Taylor Miller off to a brilliant start. In 4 and 5, we have Akuha and Maisie on her hot tail there. Taylor doing a fantastic job on the butterfly leg. A tough one. It's all about managing that energy. Maisie keeping up with her. Akuha as well. At the top of the pool too, we have Fiona and Amelia having a bit of a battle themselves as they turn into the backstroke leg. But it is Taylor Miller looking very cool, calm and confident with her backstroke. The two girls next to her, we have Akuha and Maisie neck and neck. Synchronized at some points there in lane 7 as well. Zoe Jennings catching up on the space. It is all about where your strength is, and she's doing excellently on the backstroke. She still has further time to gain further space against her competitors, and that she has. She's taken just over Maisie by the fingertips. Akuha from Japan, one of our visitors, in that solid second position at this point. But Taylor Miller, clear and classy with her performance. She is chasing that time that she qualified with of 5:19.28, and really wanting to steady her time to gain that position in the final tonight. And I've just been reminded that there is a second timed final tonight. This is a timed final. The reminder, so it is all about that time, nothing about qualifying right here, as Akuha, who has shown us her breaststroke leg already this morning, overtakes Taylor.
We can still see medalists come out of our heat session, so these times, they do count towards our overall place getters. If you can put a time or post a time on the board that is faster than one of our top 3 tonight, you will secure yourself one of those medals. We also are looking for that opportunity to sneak into the top 10. We do know how valuable points are throughout our season to go towards getting those trophies for best club and all of those things. The bragging rights to your team is always very helpful if you can sneak some of those bonus points inside that top 10.
And yeah, Taylor Miller from Melton, who have seen a few swimmers this weekend. This weekend we've had 632 athletes enter our short course opens, which is awesome to see because that has been over 2,000 entries into different events. As we come into our final leg, this is where they really have to put all their energy into to finish off nice and strong. How important is the finish?
I think it's the part that everyone really tries to switch on and see what they can do and lift, and that's exactly what Maisie Graves is doing. She's seen an opportunity. The other girls really work that breaststroke and have a little bit of fatigue sitting on their side. Maisie looking very strong here, big 6-beat kick with 75 metres left to swim. She's almost come right up alongside Taylor Miller, and she has the Kuha in her sights. With 50 metres left to go, she does have that opportunity to still catch up. Anything can happen in these 400-metre events, and quite often they do really come down to that last stroke onto the wall.
Yeah, I've been looking at Amelia Grover in 1, is versing Zoe Gant in 8 as they're neck and neck. But it is a Kuha who's really bringing it home here in this final 25 metres. Nobody is going to catch her now. But as I say that, Maisie Graves is going to really give it a crack here to close in some space. Taylor Miller still pushing out. And these are our 3 top times for this timed final. So a Kuha with the time of 5:08.93, followed by Maisie 5:12.40. And then Taylor 5:13.53.
Moving along now to event 57, the men's 200-metre butterfly. Certainly one of my favourite races on our program. One of the tougher events. We have just the 4 heats this morning for our men. Leading us out, Dominic Sue in lane 4, 12.2, ahead of Ewan Smith, 12.35, equal to Haruki Nakanishi.
Yeah, you can't not look at Haruki Nakanishi. And also in 5, we've got Kakaru Zeno. And yeah, I think it's such an impressive and brutal event. It's that sprint in that butterfly, 25-25. You know, do you think the turns help or hinder?
You would hope that they helped, particularly with our more senior athletes, very experienced swimmers. They want to be utilising those turns to the best of their ability. And this field in particular, quite a lot of them stay underwater till almost that 8-9 metre mark, so they are staying under a little bit longer than maybe some of our other athletes you'll see in later heats who will get up sooner and try and find that rhythm in the butterfly swim element more.
Yeah, Dominic Sue really dominating, the 21-year-old from MLC Aquatic, as he's over the halfway mark now, setting it up in those 25-metre slots. You know, you really have to be sharp and find your rhythm right before you return again.
I think that's definitely a strategy within these short course swims. It's every time you hit the wall, it's almost a reset for your brain. You're starting a new lap, you have a different focus. What is it on each of those particular 50-metre splits? Most people will break it down into those 4 quarters. Dom set it up really nicely in that first 50. He had a lot of strength throughout, and he's maintained that rhythm. I don't think there's been quite a lot of change to his stroke rate, so that's the speed in which his arms are turning over each time. he's really maintained that well.
Yeah, and look at him come into the finish now. Dominic with the time of 2:02.65, and it was going to be that battle between Ewan and Kakaru, and it was Kakaru that got the time of 2:06.72. Or Haruki, I should say, 2:06.72, followed by Kakaru with that 2:07.02. Fantastic swim to our guys in our first heat. Yeah, big event.
As we enter the water for Heat 2, I do have a little bit of someone beside me with a bit of experience in these 200 fly events. James, tell me how these boys would probably break down this 200-metre event in the short course pool.
Personally, for me, I've always just kind of broken it down into 4 50s. The first 50 is just about being as comfortable as possible. And then the second 50 is just slowly turning on the gas. So me and my coach, we talk about just slowly turning on the burner, just really slowly, because if you do go a little too early, you're going to suffer in that final 50. So, and then over that third 50, it's just about really starting to step the rate up and start to drive forward, and then holding on in the last 50. It's all about maintaining technique and tempo in this 200, which is exactly what Tyler, Theodore and Alison Lee are doing as they come into the 100-metre mark. It's 58.8 for Tyler Theodore and 59.3 for Alison Lee, and third, Joshua Carnes.
Alison, another one of our birthday boys for today, so hopefully he'll go back and rewatch this race, and we do wish him a happy birthday. He's had a really great competition so far, some incredible swims in last night's finals, but Tyler Theodore just looking a little bit better off those walls, maintaining that underwater slightly longer and getting that advantage, with Alison trying to move his way through on the swim.
Yeah, you're always going to have people that can play to their strengths in these races. Some people are better at underwater, some people are better at swim, and it's what makes short course so interesting. You've got people catching right up in the swim, and then all of a sudden it's an underwater and someone else is in the lead. But Tyler's doing a great job here of holding onto his lead. As we come into the final lap here, he's got a second place, but Alson's really started to turn on the jets. He's going to be joined by Joshua Carnes, who's right on his hip, but coming into the flags, it will come down to a tight finish. Tyler gets his hands on the wall. It's 2:05.70 for Tyler Theodore. Alison Lee, 2:05.74, and 2:06.75 for Joshua Carnes in third.
And we're in heat 3 of 4 in such an impressive event. James, what makes an athlete or a coach decide this is the event for them, the 200-metre butterfly?
Unfortunately, I don't think any swimmer is actually consciously selecting this event and going, I want to swim this. It kind of just gets thrown onto you. You've either got it or you don't got it. So usually everyone kind of just gives it a go once, and then if you're good at it, your coach goes, oh, well, you're a 200 butterfly now.
This is you now, and who is Doing very well in this event. Dimitri in lane 4 at that 50-metre mark. He's taken the lead and has a fantastic push off the wall.
It's a fantastic underwater there from Sorokolotov. Eli Billman sitting on his hip. Our bronze medalist in the 100 metres butterfly. Down in lane 6, Zachary Gordon as well, having a good go at trying to get a top 3 position. Peter Behrens in 4th, not too far behind, but it's 59.0 for our leader in the first 100.
How do you balance out the goals that you have in butterfly and the goals that you have in freestyle?
It's just, all strokes are pretty similar in terms of setting goals and looking at things to improve, but with butterfly, it's not a stroke that you're going to be doing a majority of your distance of. You're only going to really be doing those quality sets or drill kind of work on butterfly to focus on technique, because you've got to just make sure that when you're swimming butterfly, it's with good technique all the time. If you're practicing bad butterfly, you're not going to swim good butterfly in a race. Yeah,
and Dimitri really swimming some good butterfly as he's going to have his final turn. Chasing him, Eli Billman, Peter Behrens in 2 as well, and 6 we've got Zachary Gordon keeping up. But yeah, Dimitri really in a class of his own in this particular heat, number 3 that where we're at. We're going to check out his time. That's what he's after. So look straight up to the board. 2:05.47. Followed in by Eli, 2:08.45. 2:08.82 for Zach. And then Peter not too far behind at all in at 2:08.90 as well.
Underway now with our 4th and final heat of the men's 200-metre butterfly. There's a quick start over in lane 1 by Tommy Golding. He'll lead us through at that 25-metre turn ahead of Marley Sutherland. We were just having a discussion about where you do feel this event the most, in your arms and your shoulders, and I think the response that we heard was it hurts all over. But this, when we do short course racing for our 200 fly, it definitely burns the lungs quite a lot more, I feel, than the long course race, because you do have those extra underwaters that you want to maintain. And then when we see these athletes on the surface, a lot of the time we'll see most of our male athletes choosing to breathe every stroke, with a couple of them breathing every second, to make sure they are fueling those muscles and giving them as much oxygen as possible.
Doing a great job. Marley Sutherland leading the way, but only just really being rivaled by William Cow. It is only that 125-metre mark, so there is room and space for change. In lane 6, Michael Fan. I feel like I just saw a swimming cap on the bottom of the pool down in there as well. We all remember the Paris Olympics and the guy fetching it out there. But William really making that move there over Marley now in the lead. Also, Tommy Golding in lane 1. Be watching.
Tommy certainly had that early speed, and he's really trying to lift through this final 50. William utilising that premiership quarter, the third 50, to try and extend that lead as much as possible. And he's maintained that momentum throughout here, holding on to that rhythm as the boys come down for those final few strokes under the flags in this 200-metre fly. The sweet wall right in front of them. It will be William who touches in first, 2:16.95, ahead of Tommy finishing 2:18.86 and Marley 2:19.50.
And that's fantastic for William. 6 seconds taken off his qualifying time.
Huge personal best, another one to add to our ever-growing list today in our heats session. I'm getting very excited to see what these athletes can do when we return this afternoon for our finals, where they have those medals on offer. We move along now. It's our next event on the program, back to one of our sprint 50s, event 58, the women's 50 metres breaststroke.
Women's 50-metre breaststroke now underway. Only one chance to capitalise on that turn. A fantastic start at the top of the pool by Vera Zhang in lane 1. But it's going to be at the lead at the halfway mark. It's still going to be her. I was looking at Lucy Marr as well in second. The battle is across the middle of the pool. 3, 5 and 6. Zoe, Yuxi, Lucy. It's close. Zoe, 33.21.
Here we go, heat 2 now of our women's 50 metres breaststroke. Alana Torrance in lane 4, we've seen plenty of her this week. We're coming into that all-important turn. It's 15.1 for Alana Torrance, second Kayla Enters, and third Stephanie O'Donnell, not too far behind, but the underwater work of Alana Torrance has put a half a body's length on the rest of the field. It's going to be tight for those minor placings as we hit the finish. It's a 32.55 for Alana Torrance, second Stephanie O'Donnell, and in third place Kayla Enters, 33.96.
Into the water now with heat 3. It was a great start on this side of the pool from Ali Morgan. She was away and racing quickly, but here comes Madeline Horvath out of lane 4, one of our athletes who can swim that 32.50 metres breaststroke. She's taken over that lead, turning into 15.26 ahead of Ali, with Sophie McKenzie sitting in third. As we come down that second 25, Farida Taha starting to push her way up into the race here. It won't be enough to beat Madeline though. 32.89, Maddie Horvath. 33.41 Farida, and then in third, Sophie McKenzie, 34.05.
Heat 4 now in the water. And that is a great start to lane 5. We've got Isla Ho, Waylon Trong also very closely behind her. That's Ballarat Gold and Nana Wadding. The halfway mark, Tess Izzard in 4. He's gained that hand out in front, but a beautiful turn by Waylon Strong, who then just pips it out in front. Is really going to come down to the stroke up against the wall. We can hear the crowd yelling, go. Very, very close. Tess Izzard, 34.53. Then followed by Waylon Strong at 34.55. Isla Ho was next, 34.92.
Off to a fantastic start there in lane 5 is Isabel Neeson for heat 5 of 10 of this 50 metres breaststroke. But fantastic swimming out in lane 2. Jiu Co 15.76. She's leading us out, and also joining her in lane 9 is Bea Lovett. We come in now into the flags. It's 3 girls going head to head. Who will get their hands on the wall first? Going to be Jiu to touch everyone out. 34.62 for our winner. Second place will go to Isabel Neeson, and third to Bea Lovett.
Here we go now, heat 6 of 10, and some speedy reactions from the girls here. Out of lane 2, Vivian Van, great underwater there. She's popped up almost half a body length in front of the rest of the field. Good swim early on by Angelina and Yuen over in 0. Those are the 2 to beat on the turn. Just 3 100ths between the 2 girls, 16.07 and 16.10. Vivian just starting to really drive forward here, but a quicker stroke rate from Angelina. It looks like she might just have the slight advantage. All about timing that finish, and it will go to Angelina. 35.22 ahead of Vivian, 35.50. And it was Miller Abley who finished in third there, 36.20.
Heat 7 out of 10 in the water. A brilliant start to Caitlin Roberts. Some beautiful underwaters. The swimmer from Surrey Park being rivaled already with a high stroke rate from Chloe Hugh in lane 3. But it is Ada Jixon who hits that wall first at the halfway. 16.16. Another Wadding athlete. Let's see if she brings it on home. Zoe Davis doing the work in the outer lane as well. But Ada Jixon, 35.22, followed by Chloe, 36.28, and then Zoe, 36.55 for our Heat 7.
Heat 8 now is underway, and it's a very even start across the field here. Fantastic split stroke by Amelie Dior, as she's going to lead us into the wall along with lane 3, Grace Richards, and lane 8, Amelie Krellen. So it's still very even, but a fantastic split stroke there from Grace Richards has popped her straight in the lead. Coming at her, though, is Amelie. It's going to come down to the touch here. It's Grace Richards to take out Heat 8, 36.29. Very close heat. Amelie Dior, 36.49 to claim second. And Marissa out in lane 1, 36.68.
Underway now is Heat 9, and those outside lanes looking good early on, with Madeline Anderson getting a great start alongside her Millie Bennett. The rest of the field very close together as they come into that 25-metre turn. There will be Millie in a 16.63 ahead of Madeline, and then sitting in third, Mika McCrowan out of lane 6. Those three girls, nothing separating them. Looks like Mika might have a little bit of momentum on her side. Higher stroke rate coming down under the flags. Timing into the wall is crucial, and it will be Mika, 36.64, ahead of Millie, 36.77, and Madeline, a 36.81 from Heat 9.
Our final heat for our women's 50-metre breaststroke, that is. So we've got in lane 3, we've got Anis Zixi-Wu from Nuttawading, 13 years of age, taking on Kate Golby in lane 5 from Cheltenham, and Olivia Mack in lane 6 from MLC. And it is Kate off to a cracking start. Taking on her teammate, Anis. It's all going to be about that time when they hit the wall, and it is Kate first with a time of 35.91, Anis 36.26, and then Olivia 37.87. Event 59, the men's 100-metre breaststroke, heat 1 of 7. We're missing Daniel Cave in lane 5, who had a pretty busy last night, doing very well with his performances. In lane 4, though, Callum Halloran Laval has also had a fantastic meet, leading the way at this stage.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the events that I've been looking forward to on the program. Quite a lot of impressive athletes, and we'll be trying to see how many of these swimmers can break that minute barrier. We've got quite a few hovering around that 100. Whether they do it this morning or we've just ticked over into the afternoon, but whether they do it in this evening's finals is yet to be seen. I would love to see some fast swims hitting the board for us today in our heat session as we turn at that 75-metre wall. Callum Halloran Laval maintains that lead ahead of Brandon Wilson, with Damien Lane and Xavier Eagle turning at the exact same time.
Yeah, we're coming to the clothes, and it was Callum from the very beginning with that time of 1:02.36. Again, trying to secure those final spots and then really looking at taking those times down, this evening. Followed in by Brandon and then Damien.
This next heat, Heat 2, definitely one to keep an eye on. Lockie Chan looked great in last night's final session. Nick Stupas, though, never discount him. One of our great breaststrokers, has been from a young age, now 18 years old. And I think we'll have a nice little race on our hands in this one. A stand down on that start. Always enough to get a little bit more adrenaline, a few nerves going, shake it out, reset.
We're underway here, the first lap of the second heat of the men's 100 metres breaststroke. This is definitely the heat to watch. There's a few young up-and-comers, and then there's also a few vets in the field. Karen Fernandez touching in second here. But Lachlan Chan's the one to lead out. The boys have also got Joshua Hargreaves, the oldest in the field, but he's still going to show these young kids how it's done, as he's right in the top three as well. But Lachlan Chan hits the wall 28.53, so similar split to Callum Halloran-Lavelle in the previous heat.
Yeah, it looked like Hal kind of switched off in that last 10 metres, so we'll see if Lockie does the same here. He's got a solid lead into that final wall ahead of the rest of the field here. Karan turning in second, and then sitting in third is Harry Heath over in lane 7, but there's quite a bunch of those boys between lanes 5 and lane 8 here vying for that third place spot. Within Heat 2, down to touch just over that minute barrier, 1:00.66 for Lockie Chan. Karen in a 1:03.12, and Harry finishes in third, 1:04.01.
We're just getting the go-ahead. We're waiting for Heat 3, our men's 100-metre breaststroke. Missing Ashley Nichols in 3 from Traralgon, but the rest of the pool is full. We've got our two brothers from Melbourne Swimming Club, Milo and Felix, in 2 and 4. Having some cute little chats just on the blocks here. As here we are, we've got the go-ahead. And here we go, Heat 3 of our men's 100-metre breaststroke. A fantastic start off to our middle lanes. Felix Dressel de Bruyne in 4 and Jacob Nimmo in 5.
It's going to be a really great battle. Jacob Nimmo having represented Australia before at the junior level. Felix Dressel de Bruyne's been having a fantastic short course season so far, and those two have put a body's length ahead of the rest of the field as they touch in here. 29.0 for Felix and 29.2 for Jacob Nimmo. Let's see who can hold on for the back end.
Yeah, 50 metres done and dusted. It is going to be that battle between the two of them. There's a battle also happening up the top with Milo and Ben in 2 and 1. They're keeping that same pace, that same time. Thomas Greenwood in 7. Or should I say in 6, Mitchell Davies. But right now it is between Felix and Jacob for that heat time. Coming down to the touch of the wall. 1:02.18 for Felix. 1:02.22.04 of a second between them. That's a good time to secure them that spot. Anything under that 104 mark is looking for that finals position.
I definitely think this is shaping up to be an interesting final. A few of those athletes from earlier heats who sort of switched off, they'll be sitting in outside lanes, and I kind of have a feeling that's where they're going to want to be. They want to be on the edge. They want to be a little bit out of the action and be that surprise for me.
Heat 4, it's quick. It's going to be a very exciting final, we were saying, shaping up for tonight in 4. Patrick Forster, first 25 metres down.
Yeah, Patrick's led us around there in a 14.04 ahead of Darren Tan and Lucas Kay. So a little bit of that outside lane speed occurring here at that 25-metre turn as we come down to the halfway point. It is still Patrick who leads us around in a 30.78, a little bit slower than we saw the previous heat. Darren Tan and Lucas Kay maintain their positions in 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, the guys at the top of the pool are chasing him down. There was contention from William Upston, but it is the ones at the top, Lucas, Darren, Austin, Keith. Patrick, though, shining as the star of the show in this Heat 4. It's all going to be about that time, as we said. He's going to want to get that 104 and under.
Still super close, though, for those minor placing. Austin Robbins had a great underwater. He might sneak in almost for that 2nd place spot, so it will go to Lucas Kay, 106.69. Austin Robbins finishes in 3rd in Heat 4, 106.80.
Heat 5 now of our men's 100 metres breaststroke. It's looking like lane 4 and 6 are going to be the ones that take us out. It's Alan Liang and Alfie Graves. They touch 1-2, 14.1 and 14.2. Not too far behind is James Clare in lane 1, swimming representing propulsion as they come into the wall. Great early speed, though. These boys have managed to separate themselves from the pack. It's a 30.99 for Alan Liang. Alfie Graves in 31.06, not too far behind.
Alfie doing a really great job on those underwaters and split strokes here. He gets the lead off the skills, but Alan Liang really builds through the swim and nearly turns in front again. He has 1/100th of a second separating 1st and 2nd for the boys with quite a lead over. Looks like Leon maybe shifted his way into the 3rd place spot ahead of James Clare on that turn and underwater. It's going to be tight between those boys, but it will be Alan Liang who takes this one out. 105.45 ahead of Alfie, 106.22, and it was James Clare, 107.25, who finished off in 3rd.
A full pull for this one, heat number 6. And all of our athletes here at that 1:10 mark on their qualifying time. So they're racing against themselves in lane 6. Beautiful start to Matthew Golding, 14.57 on that first 25.
Yeah, it's a great start there, but the rest of the field is starting to make their way up. It's going to be a battle to see who is going to get under that 110 for the first time. We hit the wall. It's still Matty Golding in the lead, 32.18, only 0.01 ahead of Lachlan Bull, who we saw earlier battling it out, and we know he's going to finish very strong. Third out in lane 9, Casper, also looking to stay with our 2 leaders, but it's Lachlan Bull that's taken over into our final lap.
Yeah, he's looking nice and strong coming off the wall. He's really then pushed himself out. He was a half a body length. He's trying to capitalise and make it that full, which he's now done. Very much determined to get into that wall, checking out that time, 1:07.63. He has made it under that 110, and so have the following swimmers.
Second place, Matty Golding, 109.55. Third, Andrew Spencer, 109.60. And in fourth, also breaking that 110 barrier, was Sana Geisler from Nuttawading.
And into the water now, it's heat 7 of 7 of our men's 100-metre breaststroke. Great start in lane 4. Jake Ridley already out in the lead, about half a body length ahead of Logan McEwen. And it was Charles Gleeson turning in third at that quarter mark of this race.
Aaron Jake Ridley really pushing it out in that first 50, that halfway mark, 31.21. These guys, again, that 110, 111 entry mark here. Beautiful glide by Jake.
And he uses that glide phase on his underwater as well. He doesn't rush through. You can see each individual element, the dolphin kick, the push through, and then the breakout into his stroke there. He comes down under the flags. He's got a beautiful lead here. He will take out this 7th heat in a 106.92 for Jake. Finishing off in second was Charles Gleeson, 110.51. And Brody Cargill comes home in a 111.53 to round out third place spot.
Yeah, that's awesome for Jake and awesome for Charles as well, knocking off time. I think Charles is quite happy with that, and same with his supporters.
That's exactly what we want to see from these events, particularly in the heats. You know, you're in the 7th and last heat. You don't have the best chance of being in the final tonight, but what's the real reason we're here? And that is to get personal bests and for these guys to be ever improving.
As we move to our next event. Event 60, the women's 100-metre freestyle, heat 1 of 6 underway. And it is a quick start, very close across the board. Impressed by Isabella Osborne in 1. Brooke Kira, though, leading at that 25-metre mark.
This is always a hotly contested event on our program, and this is shaping up to be a great one this morning. We are looking for those top 10 times. They can come from anywhere, and Brooke Miles turns in a 27.51 ahead of Waylon Trong out in lane 7. She set herself up with a great chance of being one of those members of the top 10 here.
Yeah, but really Brooke making the most of those underwaters. She's staying in the longest out of everyone here, just in that line of Brooke, Kira, Jen and Waylon, and she's really charged ahead in this final 10 metres. She knows it. She goes straight to the board. 56.66 for Brooke, with a second to Kira, 57.21, and a third to Jen Lane, 57.93.
We've got Chelsea writing down all of those times so we can keep an eye on what that top 10 looks like as we go through. These girls here will have had a quick look to the board to see what needs to be done.
Here we go, Heat 2 diving in now. It's a great start from the bottom of your screen. Holly Winkles in lane 9. It's still quite even going into this first 25. This turn's going to really set up our leader for the race, but it's still dead even across the board. We're starting to see Mia Yo in lane 2 start to try and push ahead, but the field's still going with her. Mana Mafus as well in lane 7. We hit that second turn. It's going to be Mana to take the lead. Second is Azia and third Mia.
Yeah, that coming off the first wall, there was a lot of changes to that order. Girls really utilising those strengths on the underwaters. Manar having a great swim though, out in lane 7. She's a bit of that unknown quantity. There's that gap between her and the rest of the girls. Just starting to see the middle lanes push through. Farida Taha coming up alongside Nazia. But it will be Manar who takes that one out, 57.87 ahead of Nazia, 58.12, 1/100th between her and Farida, 58.13.
Heat 3, and it's been exciting so far with the times that have been produced really close. 3, 4 and 5, Eve, Abby, Gabrielle in that first turn.
It's dead even as we move into our second turn here. It's Abby Kearney in the centre looking to take these girls into the turn, but Eve Anderson's managed to flip over quicker. 27.33 for our leader in the first 50. But down at the bottom, Celeste Cheng starting to press through the field as well. It's going to be a tight race on this last 25.
Yeah, they're going to have to give it all they've got so far. They're chasing that early 58 time to be able to find that spot for the finals tonight. So let's see as Abby and Gabrielle are really pushing up. Eve also hanging on in that mix. 56.86 for Abby Kearney. That's a fantastic time. Eve Anderson, 57.40, and Gabrielle King, 57.71. At this stage, they are final spots. Heat 4. A few athletes missing. James, would you prefer to have a few gaps in your pool, or do you want a full pool when you're the athlete?
Doesn't really matter, to be honest. Maybe for butterfly short course, you wouldn't mind a few people missing, or freestyle, because especially in the men's events, it's such a large wake through the water, and sometimes it doesn't get an opportunity to escape. So usually the short course relays are always chaotic if you're in those third or fourth legs, but Alia Wong's the one to touch in first here. 28.49 for our leader. Karma Fami in second. Third, Alyssa Mettings, but it's all very close between the field.
Wow, the 4 girls are definitely giving us a battle. This is going to be an exciting final 25 metres. And it's really Paige Holt that's stretching it out with her long arm stroke. But who is it going to be? Paige gets it in there, 59.50. Alea, 59.59. Palmer, 59.73, and not far behind Alyssa as well, all in that 59 time. What a great finish.
Some incredible racing occurring today, especially in these sprint events. So good to see multiple athletes hitting times very, very similarly, giving us something great to watch.
Heat number 5 away. A fantastic finish to heat number 4. And it's very close. Looking at the top of the pool, Pippa Brown, Zara Gamboa. And then it is in lane 6, Bethany Forster. Looking like she's out in front at the moment, though Zara is definitely giving her a run for her money. We're going to see at this halfway point. There's your battle, Zara and Bethany.
Yeah, Zara, those quick feet onto the wall into those turns. She almost looks like she's slightly behind, but then just sneaks onto the wall in front each time. Bethany might have done enough in this third 25 to take over that lead. She has just 6 100ths separating Bethany and Zara as they come down the final 25. Hannah Ristig doing a lot of work here, moving her way up that field as well. She's come up alongside Zara. It's going to be close for second and third, but I think Bethany's going to take this one. 59.88, great to get under that minute mark. Zara 1:00.21, and then Hannah 1:00.45. And away we go now with our 6th and final heat of the girls' 100-metre freestyle. There's a blanket on the underwater there, but pushing her way up into the lead looks to be Sierra Kaufman ahead of Matilda Clark and Charlotte Ristig over in lane 2, turning in third.
Yeah, it's a tight battle so far, but we do have 2 leaders trying to escape the rest of the field as we come into the second turn here. It's dead even for Sierra and Matilda, 28.59s. For them, and then we've got a couple of 29s out back, but the rest of the field on the outside starting to close that gap slowly.
Yeah, both of those girls, that really high stroke rate freestyle we're seeing, and they were almost simultaneous in their stroke. Great turn, though, from Sierra Kaufman, just pulling herself out into the lead. Charlotte Ristig also doing a little bit of a last-ditch effort to try and finish in second here, but it will be Sierra, 59.69. Charlotte, 1:00.34, and Matilda Clark, 1:00.65.
I think now we're about to see quite a few girls go back-to-back on events. We've got 100 freestyle and 100 butterfly, a big crossover on a program. There was meant to obviously be 1500s if there was heats to separate it, but it's going to be fun to see. There might be some great opportunity for some of the people that have just selected this 100 butterfly or have just qualified in to try and get a spot tonight.
And event 63, the final event of our morning here for heats on day 2, the women's 100-metre butterfly. And James, you were just talking about how some of these girls will be backing it up.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of running to and from the cool-down pool and our race pool here because we've got 2 100-metre events that cross over. A lot of people that swim freestyle and butterfly. Both at competition, so in the same distance.
And look at Isabella Osborne leading the charge at the moment, flanked either side by Courtney Mudge and Manar Mahfouz. And then it's very even across the board. Also looking up at lane 1, Millie Charlton. It is going to be close for those minor placings in this heat. But Isabella Osborne showing all the class here, finishing it off with fitness and rhythm.
Yeah, she's really extended herself here, coming into the finish now. She's going to touch in at 1:68. Second, Courtney Mudge, and third's going to go all the way down to lane 8 Henrietta Wong, 104.03.
And we had an exciting heat 1. Here is heat 2 now. A brilliant start to Mia Yao in lane 4. Also up at the top, Alana Torrance in that 25-metre mark. She's placed second. Gorgeous underwaters by Mia.
Yeah, Mia does so well on these skills in her butterfly events and transfers them across into the other strokes as well. She's going to lead us around at the 50-metre turn in a 28.35, ahead of Jessica Whiting, who has quite that speed on the swim element, hasn't quite got the same underwater skill level, but really gets that high stroke rate in her butterfly. It isn't really a surprise, though, to look over to lane 0 and see Alana Torrance doing a great job. What a fantastic weekend she's having.
Absolutely, and here we are in the final 25 metres of heat 2, leading the charge, Mia. Alana still a body length away from her. She's on the tips of her toes. The time, 1 minute, 0.79 for Mia. Alana, 1:01.96. And then for Jessica Whiting in that third position in the heat, 1:03.25.
Diving in now is heat 3 of the 100 metres butterfly. It's a very even first 25 here. We don't have anyone that's managed to utilise the underwaters to get a lead, but it is going to be Isla Ho in lane 6 to touch in first. Closely behind her is Rihanna Chen and Grace Cox in third.
Yeah, Isla's having a fantastic season. We saw her put together some incredible performances at the recent Victorian Country Short Course Championships. She was seeded in some of our earlier heats, not the fastest heats, and come away with a few medals from that competition. So not surprising to see her doing well here from one of our later heats on. But as we come down this third 25, Rihanna 10 just showcasing those underwaters. She's maintained them from start to this final lap, pushing her way up into first ahead of Isla, and Grace Cox starting to make a little bit of a move now, as is Chloe Burke.
Into the flags now and coming down to the touch here. It's a 102.63 for Rihanna Chen. Isla Ho taking out second in 103.18, and third will go to Chloe Burke, who had a fantastic final 25 to make it on the podium for this heat. Grab a drink.
Heat 4, and all these girls are sitting at that late 106 and 107 mark, so keen to see what they can do in the pool in this heat. That's a nice start for Ala Yap, but down the very bottom, Amity Lansby in lane 9.
It's definitely going to take a under 104 to probably make this final, so it's going to need some big drops here, but the girls are coming into the wall. It's fairly even across the board. We've got a tie to halfway, 30.58 for Ruby Pellet in lane 3, and out in lane 8, Logan Shelley having a fantastic race as well.
Yeah, Ruby at the moment is leading. We're going to see at this final turn that they've got here, Logan Shelley just behind. This is going to be a really tight final 25 metres.
It is, but Ruby has really started to storm away, but Logan coming in close. It's going to be a tight finish. To the touch, it is going to be Logan Shelley out in lane 8, swimming her own race fantastically, 106.16. Ruby Pella in second, and third will go to Frances Birdville from Melbourne Vic Centre.
Yeah, that's great for Logan. She's just knocked off 1 second on her time, which is really good to see. She's happy with that as well.
So the girls hitting the water now for Heat 5, and it's certainly a race from that top half of the pool here. We head down that first lap. It will be Amelia Luo leading us around 14.77.
Yeah, at only 13 years of age, she's doing well in this heat. She comes up to that halfway mark, knocking out 50 metres. 30.43, followed in by Mizuki, who is right next to her, one of our visitors. Much closer in those minor placings. Also looking at the top of the pool, Teal Williams as well, doing a great job.
As they come into that final turn, though, it is still Amelia Luo out in a comfortable lead. She's going to be very hard to chase with just 10 metres left to swim. She's held that stroke together very nicely out of our 5th heat. She'll come down under the flags. She'll take out this one in a time of 107.10 ahead of Teal, 108.35. Mizuki gets onto the wall in third, 109.51.
Our final heat now of 6 and final race for the morning is our 100-metre women's butterfly. We've got 3 swimmers in this race. Lily Goodman in lane 3, Taylor Miller in lane 4, and Olivia Bailey in lane 5.
All 3 of these girls' entry times at a 108. Let's see if we can get a last race personal best on the board, or maybe even 3 as the girls come up to that 50-metre turn. It's all going to be about who can time onto this wall. It will be Taylor Miller just ahead of Olivia Bailey, turning in a 31.20 and 31.31. They are just in front of Lily Goodman with 30 metres left to swim.
It's definitely going to be a tight race. The 2 girls, Taylor and Olivia, have just extended the lead slightly. As we break out now, there was a fantastic underwater by Olivia Bailey to keep herself in the race. It's going to come down to the touch here as we enter the flags. Final couple of strokes, head down, and it's going to be Taylor Miller to take it out. 106.79, Olivia Bailey 107.29, and Lily Goodman finishes in a 109.18.
And that wraps things up for our Victorian Open Championships, our 2025-26 UNCLOUD short course session 3. What an exciting second day of heats that we have had. Plenty of PBs and amazing performances by our swimmers. We'll be back on Swimming Victoria's YouTube and right here at MSAC for 5 p.m. for finals tonight for more action in the pool. We can't wait. Thanks, James. Thanks, Kalia. Thanks to Swimming Victoria and all of our technical officials for making this morning possible. We'll see you back at the pool very soon.